Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Fueled by Progress, hosted by me, Mark Joseph Szymanski. Today, we have joining us via Zoom from Yakima, Washington, a longtime friend of mine, Cal Tarasi. Buddy, how the hell have you been?
I have been just fine, Mark. How are you doing, by the
I'm,
way?
do- I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. We spoke a little bit before we went live here, and you got a lot going on. I want to say, like we said the last time we kind of spoke was when you're back here in Pittsburgh for a hockey tournament, and we've known each other for quite a while. We've known each other since I have a terrible memory. Amanda will tell you that, but it's been a while. It's been since pre-K or preschool or before that. I mean, do you have a better idea of that than I do?
Nah, I'm pretty new, and a lot of it has been like preschool, and that's basically most all of our lives, you know. So
Yeah.
we've known each other, and in recent years, not as much conversation back and forth, but people have their lives and things. People have to take care of their own shit, so that happens. Try not to. I mean, I personally don't get upset or offended. I feel like when it comes to keeping in touch and communication, it's not one of my strong suits, and I always feel the need to apologize. I'm a overly apologetic person, although I feel like it's overly. I feel like sometimes it's apt. I should be apologizing for some things, but we've known each other for our entire lives, and so yeah, we're old friends. Just
Yeah.
we have some catching up to do because the last time I saw you was at that hockey tournament, and wasn't for very long. And so yeah, man, it's been some time, but glad to be talking to you now.
Absolutely, man. Same here. Same here. I think that it's like with anything, like you said, they're like old friends and just trying to get to know each other. I want to hit on that real quick because I feel the same way. Sometimes especially when you start to meet new people, and especially you in a totally different place now, which we definitely need to talk about the beautiful state of Washington. Being totally moving across the country. I imagine that's difficult at times to try to keep in touch with a lot of the good people that you met here in Pittsburgh. Meeting new people, obviously, out there, and that's a big part of it. But trying to even when they're close, even when people are close, it's difficult to try to like keep in touch with just somebody down the street. I've started to experience that myself. It's like I know a lot of good people doing a lot of great things, and I try to make sure every once in a while to send a note out or something, say hey, what's going on, this, that, and the other thing. But it's definitely tough, man. I totally empathize with that. And again, when you're across the country, it's definitely probably even tougher because you're not seeing them, right?
And it's like it's not like I'm only a couple miles away from people now. I'm 2,500 miles away, and when it comes to like my biggest thing when it comes to my thing is, and it makes it even more difficult now, which I'll try to adjust with, is next time I'll talk to you next time I see you in person. Like when it comes to over the phone texting or calling, I hate it and never good at it. I deleted my Facebook after the first episode of Mr. Robot. You see that show?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Fucking made me so paranoid. And so I was like, I'm blessing me out there, the bear. But if anyone wants information, anyone can get it in any time, nowadays. But what do they want from me? I don't have much. I'm not. But it's I hope to eventually get better at it because I mean, even my closest buddies, some of them I've only talked to once or not at all since I've been here. It's almost been like 6 months, and I was never good at it. A lot of people back home, if anyone's listening, I'd like to think you know who you are, and a lot of people I didn't get to say goodbye to in person. I kind of just up and left. I didn't have much time. I only had like 2 months, and then I was out. But a lot of people I didn't get to say goodbye to, and I, knowing myself, uh, I'm a kind of a shitty person. And maybe by the end of this, you'll see some of the lesser qualities of myself. And one of them is, let's see, what was I talking about? My mind's, my brain, it's not as sharp as it used to be.
Well, I feel that it's mine's all over the place as well.
It doesn't, I don't flex it nearly as much with, things, activities like say practice music or read or whatever. So, you don't flex the muscle, it gets slow. And also smoke a lot of weed. Done my fair share of drugs over the years, and I'm not going to go into that. But anyone back in Pittsburgh, there's many of you that I miss dearly, and it sucks for me. Hopefully in time I'll get better at it, but sometimes I think, especially coming out here, like enough time has passed where it's I'm more settled in now. But like the first couple months were definitely difficult, and then I would think about like, wow, my entire life aside from living in Boston for a couple months, I spent my entire life in Pittsburgh. And now it's just like, I can't help the thought comes to mind sometimes, like, did my entire life, it might as well not existed at all. It's like everyone I ever known my entire life is left behind. And because of my extreme lack of ability to communicate with people, and there's something about it, get like some kind of just something I'm not good at it. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh, man, a lot of these people I may never see or talk to again, which is probably not going to be the case, but just it's going to be very few and far between. But the thing is, it's not the amount of times I talk to somebody, it's just the quality. I could talk to somebody twice a year, have a couple hour conversations with them, and honestly, that's enough to me. When it comes to people and the disconnect, sometimes it's like almost tangible. You can feel like something's different between us, and I hate it. I hate when that happens. But I love it when I come across people, and it's like I saw you yesterday. It might have been years, but once we start talking, we're just that same level of comfort is there. So it's always refreshing when that happens. It just as it turns out, with most people, if I don't talk to someone for like 4 years, there's going to be that disconnect, and it's not quite the same. But my memory is also horrible. I can't remember anything. Yeah. So it's like, for me, it's like, oh, I saw you yesterday, but it's been years. This feels like the same thing. So it's nice when people understand that. I try not to offend people with my lack of communication, or hopefully people don't think, oh man, fucking asshole, didn't even say goodbye. Yeah, I know I did. But it doesn't mean I have any ill will, or it doesn't mean I didn't like you enough to go see you. And say goodbye. There's plenty of people that I would love to spend like the whole entire day with, but that would have taken a couple months in itself. I don't know that many people, so maybe a couple weeks. But if I spent a day with people, but I just hope that people understand that it's I do miss a lot of them, a lot of you people, and really moving out of here. I joke and say sometimes, like, I achieved my life goal by age 24. Now what? Because since college, I came back here, and then I went on a road trip with my friend Bill. You know Bill Simmons?
I saw him in some of my research. I know that he was in your bands, but I don't know if I've ever met him.
Okay, yeah. See, depending on who I'm talking to, I'm like, did you meet Bill? You know Bill, big beard. Yeah, he's in Cursewords, best buddy of mine. He's actually lives in Tacoma now, so I'm not out here by myself. Tacoma's only a couple hours away. I stopped him over a couple times. I helped him move from Portland because he lived in Portland last year. So he's one of my best buddies. He actually just got hired at the post office because, healthcare in this country, we need it because, let's say my appendix ruptures, there's like 30 grand in the hole. What if I want to have kids or a family? What if I have student loans? What if I want to buy a house? If I don't have health insurance, I'm fucked. So he was a little worried about that. So he's fine now. He's going to turn 26 in April. So he's going to have the health coverage because all it takes is one injury or something like that, man, and you're screwed. So, so he's doing fine. I joke, I'm like Obi-Wan because I used to call myself the mail machine in Pittsburgh. I sling mail and I can sling it fast, right? But he caught on to the job like nothing. He's like fast. Some people new to this job, I mean, the turnover rate with the post office, I'm like 2 out of like 30 in my class to still be hired. And that was about like 4 years ago. And some people just, I don't know, either they just suck or they don't have any urgency with the job. And, eventually the training wheels have to come off. People can't be coming every day to take half your route away from you so you can get done. Eventually you're going to get your ass fired if you can't finish your route in 8 hours. But he's fucking Anakin because his midichlorians are off the charts. His male midichlorians, like he's a fucking beast. But when I say like that comparison, his future is not clouded. He's going to save the post office. But no, he's doing really well at the job. He doesn't have to. He caught on real fast. So he's over in Tacoma. I'm actually going to be spending Christmas in Tacoma, which is nice because his sister and my best buddy Sal, kitties,
the kitties,
kitties. They're going to be coming in and spending till like I think like 10 days or something. So I get to see some good friends of mine. They're coming in. I'm going to pick them up from the airport on Christmas and see how with my days off go. See, I'm going on like I apologize.
No.
I will try to let you talk too, but when it comes to talking to people like this, like I'm just pacing around the apartment talking to myself. So it's refreshing to be talking to someone else. Yeah. But like I just ramble, I just go, man, because I just got me and bouncing around my thoughts in my mind most of the time. What I do with Bill is what I like is we send each other video messages
Yeah.
Because when it comes to like, FaceTime, I like FaceTime. Talking on the phone, I can't do it. Texting, don't like it. But the FaceTime, I kind of like the FaceTime because I can see you. It's more of like we're here,
Right.
It's not,
Yeah.
I can see you, which helps for me. I don't know.
Mm.
But what we do is we send each other like anywhere from like 3 to like 7 minute videos of just either me belting out a tune horribly in the ProMaster in the truck or at nail or belting, or just talking, and that's our interaction. And he sends one back and see how his day's going. And so it's nice to have that. It's I found that even as introverted as a person as myself, coming out here, I'm like, obviously moving away from my entire life and family is difficult, but I was like, no person or people was enough to keep me in the same place for my whole life. I didn't like the idea of living in the same place my whole life. And then since, on that road trip that we went on, coming out here, I knew immediately, specifically Washington, and Bill felt the same way. He moved to Portland last year, and he made his way up to Tacoma now. So we're where we need to be. But I knew immediately coming out here and seeing just this gorgeous state. It has it all, man. It has it all. Mountains, volcanoes, anything in the world, deserts, like it pretty much has it in Washington, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Seeing this beautiful state, I was like, I got to move here. And then I thought about when I came back, I had a real hard time. Because before that, I dropped out of college, and then I started working at the gas station. It wasn't great. I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? But
you're figuring it out, man. It takes time.
Yeah, it does, man. I'm fortunate enough. The plan worked. The plan after the road trip, I eventually later on that year, me and Damien, I was a helper with UPS. Like around Christmas season, they have a runner to run packages out with the UPS guy. And then after that, I applied to the post office and got hired. And the plan was, why I joined the post office is one, working by myself and outdoors is huge because without a degree, I don't have a degree. So I wouldn't be able to be like, some kind of forestry shit or something. How many jobs am I going to have where I'm outside by myself completely? It's up to me. I can work my own pace as long as I get it done. Without a degree, man, my options are limited. And then there's FedEx or UPS, but UPS, depending on where you're at, could take up to 5 years to get to the street. I said, fuck that. I'm going to go right to the street and just deliver the mail. So, and then the biggest one was everywhere in the country gets mail, right? Everyone gets mail. So I could transfer to another state and keep my job, have a job moving out to another state. And because that makes it a lot easier than quitting something and then moving and starting from scratch. Like, how would I even get approved to rent somewhere if I don't have a source of income, Mm-hmm. So it worked. And it took a lot sooner than I thought. I thought I'd still be waiting a couple of years. But this past October, I went out to visit Bill for a couple of weeks in Portland. We had a good time. Places, went to the Redwoods, all kinds of places. And that solidified in my mind that, I need to make it out here. So I just put in like almost 30 transfers all over Washington and a couple in Oregon. And, come spring, I heard back. I'm like, what's happening already?
That was fast.
Yeah. I originally heard from Richland, and then geographically, it's a little too east in the state. I wanted to be closer to the green. And, my dumbass, I guess, is just me being ignorant. I've been out here, but I went to like Olympic, didn't go through this part of the state. And I was thinking, you think of the Great Pacific Northwest, green, just green, mountains and trees, evergreen state. But this side, 82, it's a beautiful drive. It's got like this big brown rolling hills, and there's like a desert kind of to the east, like this whole terrain, like I was completely unaware of. I was like, this is fucking cool. And I'm 2 hours away from Rainier, and it's the most gorgeous drive into Wenatchee National Forest. And there's Okanogan. There are a bunch of Native American names.
Yeah,
it's hard to pronounce. Actually, fun fact: if you want to be a pretentious prick, it's Yakima. The stress on the ma is like the proper way to pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares, man? Yakima. I mean, if anyone points it out to me, I'm like, you're just a goddamn prick. Does it personally offend you that I'm pronouncing this wrong? What? But there's all kinds of stuff that's within range, and I'm so close to everything. Like, I can't wait till when the borders open up eventually. I want to go to Banff. I'm 10 hours away from Banff in Canada, and Kootenai, and then to the east we got the Tetons, and there's Yellowstone, goes through like 3 fucking states into Idaho, I think. And then I got all of Washington. I've been to Olympic one time, and I've been to Rainier a couple of times now. And then we got Oregon right below us, and even further is the Redwoods. And it's amazing. And it's just like, this is, it's for, in terms of just what makes people, happy, and what, you need something to keep you going. And I'm not the best at that. And usually I'm running on empty. There's nothing inside. And in terms of, motivation, I'm kind of just like, fuck, just get done with work so I can go home. Also, coming here, I was thrown off because I was working like 70 hours a week. They took my days off away from me because they can mandate me on my days off. And I was working Sundays. I'm like, what the hell is this shit? I put in my DCA. I haven't done this in like 3 years. I'm not supposed to work on Sundays. I'm a regular career employee. So what I had to do is had to get a medical note from my doctor saying I can't work my non-scheduled days off. And the entire office has medical notes. Apparently it wasn't this fucked until like, this past year with the coronavirus and everything. Yeah. But what everyone told me is they saw it coming, is they should have hired more people like a couple years ago, but they didn't. And so the entire office is completely understaffed. And so it was rough. For a couple months, I was working like 6, maybe 7 days straight, upwards I was pushing 80 hours some weeks, man.
Oh my gosh.
And it was, that on top of the transition of moving to the other side of the country by myself, was a little difficult. But now, since I'm more settled in, more time has passed, and I have my days off, they can't take that away from me now. And every 5 weeks, I get 3 days off. Like this upcoming weekend, I'm going to call off the day after Christmas, which sucks, and I don't like to do that. But the thing is, I'm off Christmas Eve. That's my day off. And then this Christmas, and I have my buddies coming in, and who knows when the next time I'm going to get to see him. So I'm calling off the day after Christmas so I can spend an extra day with them. And then the next week after that, every 5 weeks, I get 3 days off, and I get to go see him again, which is nice. But why would I drive? I'm not going to drive back on Christmas from Tacoma to start work at 6 a.m. the next day, Fucking since Christmas, I've been starting at 6 in the morning and waking up at like 4:45, and you can get used to anything pretty much when it comes down to it. But, my perception of time is always fucked. And now it's completely thrown off. Like I got home at because they've been keeping me, for 12 hours, upwards like 14 hours some days, man.
Do you get overtime for that, or how does that work? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Passing this shit out like candy. And how it works, and I don't want it. I really don't want it. I look at my paycheck, and they're way bigger than they were in Pittsburgh, because a lot of differences between the post office and Pittsburgh, man. They'd be up my ass if I was 5 minutes past 6 in Pittsburgh. They'd be real strict about penalty time. They did not want to pass out double time for nothing. And, I just kept my head down and got done because I didn't want to deal with their shit. It's too much of a headache. But over here, man, and I was working to like 8, I worked till like 9 o'clock a couple times. I gave someone their mail at almost 9 o'clock. I'm like, isn't this fucking ridiculous? You get mail at 9 o'clock? Like, is this just a thing here? You guys used to this? Because what the hell is this? So I had a hard time adjusting to it, and the whole time thing, it doesn't matter here. And they threw it out the window, and like I had real time with that, because I would come back scrambling at the office and like, these things happened. I'm sorry I'm so late. And they would just look at me and be like, no, it's cool. It's cool. I'm like, you're not supposed to be okay with this. But fucking having your employees work 14-hour days and you're just okay with it. I mean, yeah, the bonuses, I've been getting some nice fucking paychecks, which is nice, but I don't want it, man. I look at that. I don't even look at my paychecks. My dad asks me sometimes, like, hey, did you see that paycheck? I'm like, I didn't even know that we got paid again. Has it been 2 weeks already? Wow, great. Because it just kind of, I don't care, man. It's just the thing. Money, as far as that goes, I don't miss being broke. I really don't miss being that. I like being financially stable, but, I fucking don't care about money at all, because it kind of just, that's how the world works. It's all just, life is just easier if you have some money on you. So I'm just gonna keep it like that, and then eventually just get a house, I guess, is the goal. But I look at it and I'm like, I'd rather have a shorter day, a little bit more time, But I'm used to that by now. So
let me ask you a question. So would you say, I have a bunch of questions, obviously, but let's start with this one. Do you like your job? Do you enjoy what you do from a day to day?
I do like my job. Not every day. And, I'm sure a lot of people feel like that. The thing that, as far as what's available to me, and again, I mentioned not having a degree, I'm not going to get much of it. It's a good paying job with benefits, and I get to work outside by myself. And I don't think I can go back to working inside a building, whether it's a warehouse or, I'm never going to go back to customer service, man. I'm not going to be a guy cashier. Now I'm making like real livable income, So yeah, I do like it. What freaks me out, I think, and gets me sometimes is I started when I was 21. And for me, the eligible age would be 57. So that's 36 years of mail. And that kind of freaks me out for a couple of reasons, because that's a long time of doing the same thing. And again, I said, like, I didn't want to live in the same place. So I came out here. And the idea of doing the same thing like that, depending on what it is, like if I was a successful, let's say, musician or something, I could do that forever. But, if it's mail or say like anything, just like, just your average job, blue collar job or whatever, that's a long time to be doing the same thing. There's just some benefits to that. I mean, I'll max out the pay grade. I've run like 11, 12 years. So that'd be nice. But the thing is, that's a long time. And also the physicality, man. Like, I don't take care of myself very well. Like, people may look at me and be like, that guy's a fit person. But at the same time, I have a horrific fucking diet and I smoke a pack a day. So we'll just call each other even there. And, it's physical, and you're walking like 10 upwards of 15 miles a day. And it wears on you. And like a lot of people I've talked to, they got like metal plates in their fucking legs and shit like that. And their back's all fucked up. And it's all I'm going to lose my hands. I had different ideas for my hands years ago. I thought I was going, play music as a living, but holding the mail every day, it shit wears on you. So I'm going to have crippling arthritis, because I still play guitar, not nearly as much as I used to, but I still do that. And you use your hands for everything. And so I'm worried about more like come like 10 years from now, the physical side effects. And will I be able to do this I'm not sure if I'd be able to carry mail. Like, the good thing about the post office is I could switch to a different craft. I could be a clerk or something, or whatever. But, I think what freaks me out the most is it's a long time. It's a long time. And I'm only 24. I'm going to be 25 in February. So I could see myself doing this for at least another decade. And then I think about it, I'll be worried about like I'll go through some kind of crisis. I'll be in my mid 30s and I'll be like, I'm still delivering mail, purpose, fucking, I feel like I got no purpose or whatever. But, really when it comes down to it, I try not to get hung up on purpose so much, but
yeah,
because purpose, it's, just get through, do what you need to do to get through the day is how I look at it, Yeah.
Do you think that you have a lot of anxiety in your life?
Dude, I'm a neurotic ass spaz. And social anxiety, like I'm like the G-rated baby version of Elliot in Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
Like I identify with him. I love that show so much. It's so fucked up. I love it. But as far as he goes, and like being like the social anxiety and or like being afraid of people sometimes, man. Just I'm not the best with people. It's not my thing. I'm kind of a hermit, and I've obviously, I'm out here now by myself. So I think, with some things, some actions don't really require too much of an explanation. Some things just speak for themselves. So, I mean, that has to say something about me, moving away from everyone I've ever known by myself.
Well, I don't claim to be a great reader of people all the time, but you've never struck me as like somebody that was kind of like anxious in a sense, or that they're like, the hermit style lifestyle. So I'm just, and again, I mean, with the things that I've done and the steps that I've taken, I've told the story before, but last year I was in a pretty bad place with the things that I was doing, because I was in a job that I just didn't enjoy, and I was miserable, and it was starting to weigh on me. And I'm not saying that you're in that position, because it sounds like you kind of enjoy what you're doing, but at the same time, there's many people, maybe yourself included, that it's like, you don't necessarily know what to do next, or like you're like you mentioned already that you're worried about like the future. You're worried about certain things in the future, right? And I don't know. It's just always an interesting topic for me to talk about with people, because the perspective on what's going to happen next is always one that I think fucks with a lot of people, because again, I'll just personal anecdote. I was working and I thought the exact same thing as you, man. I was like, and I didn't even have like the what I would assume like at eligibility of 57. I would assume that's like retirement, pension type thing, government, whatever. I didn't even have any of that. Like, I mean, I just had like a retirement fund or whatever that I was doing. But I was like, am I really going to continue to be miserable like this with what I'm doing for 40 years or whatever? And again, the level of happiness varies from person to person, job to job. But when I was in that position, I was just like, there's no fucking way that I can do this. So, similar to you, didn't move across the country, but I took a bit of a risk, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start some things for my own and see where it goes. And I always just ask these types of questions, because I always think that if you can move closer to fulfillment and happiness, which it seems like you've taken a lot of steps to do so. I mean, it begs the question, what was the biggest reason for you to move out there? Do you think that ultimately helped? Like, what is, maybe it's created some other problems, but like, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think about it, and I'm still super happy and grateful that I was able to do it and that I'm here. And in terms of fulfillment and peace of mind, that's always like something I feel like that's always ongoing, like everything else. Things change, and the ability to adapt and change with the things that are changing around you. That's one of the most important skills to have. You gotta be able to improvise, because shit just arises. But I am super happy to be out here, and what got to me, it got to me a lot more when I was back in Pittsburgh, because our life was so fucking stale there. Because I lived with my parents until I moved out here, because my reasoning was, and I listened to you talk it, say the same thing in the Just Do It podcast. I don't know if you still live with your parents or not, but I do.
You do? This is my room.
Dude,
been in it for 24 years.
Dude, it did me a lot of good though, because I saved a shit ton of money, and like I'm solid here. Even I could even put like a 10 to 12 grand down payment on a house and still be comfortable. So as living at home, making with this job for the past like almost 4 years, or 3.5 since moving out here, saving the money, not paying rent, and even the small things like laundry or food and shit like that, I saved a lot of money, and it did me good. So if that's what you're doing, yeah, I do that for as long as it's definitely nice. I love having a place to myself. I can just rip a bong in my goddamn living room or out the window,
Yeah.
which is that's not that big of an
Freedom
example,
is nice. Freedom is nice.
Yeah.
I understand exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
It is. But I played it smart, and I saved some money, and now I'm out here. But what it got to me way more, the whole job thing. I would say myself, like, man, like a couple years ago, like I will fucking kill myself long before I retire from this fucking job. But now that I'm out here in a different place and have a little bit more breathing room, and it's I'm still working a lot, but I get that breath of fresh air. It's been like a month, but I go in the Rainier on my days off, and what's great, it's only a couple hours away, or Wenatchee, then there's national forests there. I could be somewhere beautiful in like 45 minutes and spend a day out there, and then come back and be back before dark. And it's awesome that I can just have a day off, like any given Sunday, I can do that. And having that, and just, being out here, and life was just getting super stale in Pittsburgh, man, because every day was the same thing. And, I need to get out. I just needed to get out. So, and then especially going out to last year to see Bill in Portland, and then we going places, because I haven't been out to the West Coast since it was like 2016 or something on that road trip. And that just was a huge reminder as to like, wow, I need to get out here. So that's when I put in the transfers. And I didn't think I was going to hear back for a long time. But then that spring I heard back from Yakima, and I looked at it, and looked at it on the map, and I'm like, that's close to, a bunch of cool stuff out there. And so it went through, and I don't know, since being out here, it's definitely a breath of fresh air when it comes to, think about the job and shit like that. I try not to think about the future. If it's like 2 minutes ahead in the future, I'm trying not to think about it, because my mind starts to race as the possibilities of what to do with it. And then I just start to get all worked up. And
have you always been like that?
I think it's gotten worse, man. I don't know. There's a lot of qualities about me that I did not used to have. And I think there's, events in life and certain things over the past years, like since, like dropping out of college at Berklee, like dropped out, or went from CalU, which I could have done a lot more there. And then I went to Berklee, and then Berklee, just the whole, because like since I was 12, I was like, music's the only thing I'm going to be able to do. This is going to be my life. And then having that shattered and just giving up on the thing that you thought you never could.
What happened?
I shit my pants, man. I got up there, and I wasn't prepared enough. I should have spent that summer practicing every day for at least a couple hours. And I was off getting stoned and drunk with my buddies, having a good time that I don't remember, and haven't talked to a lot of those people in a long time. Doesn't matter. I had a good time, man. Yeah. Fortunate, and for all the people I grew up with, and there's a lot of people like Brad and everyone back home. But I got there, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into, man, for multiple things. Like, to make it as a musician, like, I'm not a musician, I play music, but in my opinion, if you're a musician, that's what you do to support yourself. And it's just tireless, endless work. You don't clock in and clock out each day, which makes, that's easy, compared to like my job. I clock in and clock out, and then, I get to go home. But like, there's no sense of that, or a lot of times there's no sense of that in terms of like arts. You just always have to constantly be working people, making connections, doing things to just pay the goddamn rent or whatever. And some people are more fortunate than others, but so that's one thing. And then just like sitting in the practice rooms, it's very intimidating, man, because those are some of the best young musicians in the world. Mm-hmm. And because it's it's Berklee goddamn College of Music, that and Juilliard, and say North America, those are the big music schools. So to make it there, I'm very self-deprecating, and I'll give myself very much credit.
I've noticed that as a theme, and I it's tough, man, because like I said, somebody sitting across the Zoom call here from you and known you for a long time, man. I mean, I look at it a different way. I have a different perspective on it. I mean, like I've heard of Juilliard, I've heard of Berklee, and there's no fucking way that I could ever get into there, and you made it in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
well, the difference between you and me, man, is do you play music? Do you play anything?
I try to sing sometimes. It's not that good.
You sang at church in grade school.
That was bad. That was bad. I'm better. I'm a little bit better than that now. Not much.
Yeah. Well, which is just, though, I bet you are, though. I bet you are. See, it's hard to self credit, man.
Right.
The thing is, apples and oranges, though, man, because you didn't spend up until that point when I got there. It's probably like at least 8 years of playing music. Like, that's like comparing, a professional ice hockey player to like a football player. That's a terrible example, but you know what I'm saying. Fucking different fields, and so for me, playing that long, what I wanted to do with music is more than anything, you know Jake Urbanek.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the thing, and he's power to him, man. He's talk about committed people. You and him are two of the most that I've seen. He's in that. Well, I'm not sure if he made it to Nashville yet, but he stayed at Cal U, went through the program, and the thing is, it also comes down to the individual and your level of commitment. But I got up there, and I cracked like an egg, and it didn't help because I was in a couple of the wrong classes, like in ear training. It's like do re mi fa sol la ti do. That's ear training. You hear something like a piece of music, and someone could tell you exactly what's going on theoretically as it's happening. Like they could say, oh, they just moved down this interval, or this is going on, or they just went to altered land, or whatever the fuck. Or those people with perfect pitch who can stand under a street light, listen to the hum, and be like, that's in B flat. Like, fucking, that's not fair. That's not fucking, you got a leg up. But the thing is, I was in way too high of a class for that, and it comes like just basic music theory was a class I should have been up a little bit. And it's just like each fucking class, like I could spend like my whole fucking day working on. And I was in jazz band, and that was fucking that. I got vibed so hard, man. Like I couldn't keep up. And as a musician, I just wanted to run with the best. I wanted to be a respected musician amongst musicians because, no matter what you do, the people in your field, if you have their respect, that obviously means a lot more coming from someone who is vested in whatever you're doing, as opposed to like a layman. Like, it still means if someone who doesn't play music sees me hears me play something, they're like, well, that's really good. And it does mean something. I thank you for saying that. But at the same time, for me, at least, it's always going to be down
right.
significantly lower than
if they're in your field, they understand how hard it is. They understand.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the practice rooms at Berklee, and I would hear you could just hear these kids next to me just ripping through Coltrane solos on the sax, just fucking going off. And I'm just looking around, and I'm cowering in the practice room trying to fucking practice basic, jazz concepts and shit like that. And it's just like, it's a pace that I couldn't run with. And I was wholly unprepared, and I didn't know it. And Ken Karsh, he was my teacher. Been fortunate to have great instructors over the years. Him, one of them, he called me out, man, because he was my teacher at Cal U. And I told him I was transferring to Berklee. And he went to Berklee. He lasted there a year. I didn't even last a semester. I think I made it to November before I just dropped out, stopped going to classes. And he told me, he's like, and I wasn't a great student at Cal U either. I failed out 2 classes, and because I just didn't show up. Because it's like one of them was like business management, and entry level shit like that, where it's all just common sense they're spewing at you. And I'm like, this shit's boring, so I didn't show up to it. But like as a student for him, I would be too lazy with practicing, especially second semester, man. Like over the years, I just tailed off. it would seem a digression with music. So he called me out. He's like, if you go out there, you better be ready, because you know, if you aren't, then you ain't gonna make it. Long story short, and he was right. And it kind of just, I don't know, I couldn't handle it. And in hindsight, you know, it's also ungodly expensive. So that was something that kind of weighed on my mind. And my parents helped me out a lot with school and stuff like that. They're like, don't worry about it, we'll pay for it. I'm like, where are you gonna fucking get this? Riley's not even college, you know, what the hell? Well, she's gonna graduate in this coming spring, which is fantastic. I'm very proud of her, you know, and I hope to come back. Hopefully he has a ceremony. That'd be nice. I doubt it because of the virus, but because I wanted to hear me from the rafters, because when Casey graduated, he's one of like the honored students who carried the flag up the aisle, and he's like 30 years old with his name. So I was thrown off. We were just clapping, and as it went on, everyone's yelling, you know. So I wanted him to hear me, like screaming, be like, "Yeah, you did it. You fucking did it. You made it." Yeah. But so good for him. And I don't know what was I talking about? I'm off, man.
No, that's all good, man. Well, I was no, I mean, you were talking about like sort of everything that, you know, that has transpired there, and I was thinking about, so you went to Cal and then you transferred to UC Berkeley, or not? It's not UC. Is it UC? It's not UC Berkeley. It's
at Berklee with like LEE in Boston.
Gotcha. I always get those confused. So you went there. How does that work? I mean, like I said earlier, like you were at Cal and you applied to Berkeley and you got in, right?
Yeah, what I had to do is I auditioned. I went to Ohio, it was Cleveland, and they had a day where they were accepting, you know, auditions, and I just got there waiting for my turn for, you know, to audition in front of people. And so what I had to do is I went in there and I played The Wonderful Slippery Thing by Guthrie Govan. That's a song. He's
on
one
guitar?
of my favorite. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I did that. You play a song for him, and then there's like a trial thing afterwards where they give you like some sheet music and you read it and you play along with it. Thankfully, I didn't fuck that up too much at the time, because I'm never the strongest reader. And you put some music in front of me now, you know, never was the strongest reader, but you read some music, or they play some notes like relative pitch, and you jam with them for a little bit, and there's an interview afterwards, and I nailed it. It all went great, and I heard back from them, and I was accepted, and that was that. And so that's what I had to do to get in. And then I got there, and there was an assembly with all the new freshman class coming in. And it's like the average is 1 out of 10 people. So they said like something like 10,000 people applied and 1,000 got accepted. And it's like, there's an example of something where I should have felt a little bit good about myself.
Yeah, certainly, man. That's 10%.
Yeah, man. And it's, but the thing is, I have a serious problem with that, because I'm just too critical of myself. And, you know, you need to have that to progress with whatever it is. But I have it to an unhealthy degree where it's just self-deprecating and just gets too much, too down on myself. Something like that, I should have just looked around and been like, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, good for us. Yeah. You know, that must mean something. But like anything compliment or anything that good, I just immediately dismiss. I just let it roll off my back like water. And because I don't know, man. That's a personal thing. Just when it comes down to everything, it's hard to get invested in the meaning of it, because really when it comes down to everything you can do, anything you do at all in life here existing on this planet, when it comes down to the very bare bones of it, it doesn't mean a goddamn thing. And I feel that to the core of my being. And, you know, it doesn't get to me as much anymore. But, you know, that mentality, you know, that's why I said running on empty. You know, it's hard, you know, because you need something to keep you going. My only motivation lately has been to get done with work so I can go home. Because every day has been 12 hours, 6 to at least 6:30, upwards to 8. Hopefully
what's your favorite thing to do?
Well, I don't do much. Really, I don't know. I like going out to the mountains and the parks and that, but that's more of a recent thing. As far as like activities, recently the harmonica.
Yeah, I've been seeing that on Instagram. We're gonna tag that in the description there. Keep doing it.
Thanks, man. I always had like a deep appreciation for that instrument, and it's like, here's the thing: when it comes to music, like you see something, or just goes for anything, and you see something that you didn't think could be done with it. Like there's this guy, you know, John Popper. He's an amazing harmonica player. And then I found Howard Levy, who played with Bela Fleck, and I heard him play the harmonica. I'm like, I didn't know you could do that with a fucking harmonica. And that's inspiration right there. When you see something that you didn't think could be done with whatever it is, say my example, like an instrument, or I find a new guitarist, I'm like, whoa, that's a fucking fresh idea right there. that's inspiring. And so I finally got myself some, Sidel session steel fucking reeds. These things are like fucking, it's butter. This is a stick of fucking butter. It feels great. And it's, when it comes to, tools and shit, you don't buy someone who's just starting off playing guitar, $3,000 guitar, because they may not play it after a month. But if you play with it and stick with it enough, you get to upgrade. And so I thought I could upgrade to to this. And I don't know, it's fresh, and it's I'm keeping with it now, a little bit at a time. So that's a little bit as far as like something that I get a little bit of enjoyment out of. But I don't know, I'm just tired a lot lately. I still work a lot. Hopefully it gets better in January. Things hopefully calm down a bit. But as far as doing things, man, I don't do much. That's why I could fuel my progress. I'm not as far as like personal activities go, not much to comment on.
Yeah. Well, man, like I said, it's a process. Fueled by Progress is the brand, and it's a mantra that I've started to live by, and we're trying to get that out to more people and everything like that. But I think a lot of times people think that it's just a snap of a finger, and then exactly what you're gonna do, right? Some people have their shit figured out when they're 16. Some people have their shit figured out when they're 45, right? And you can fall anywhere in between that. And it's interesting to hear some of the stuff that you're and the perspectives that you have, like, and I appreciate it, giving me and everyone like the insight into the way you think, because, sometimes while you might think it's like self-deprecating and like it's not a good thing, like this is quality shit, because a lot of people don't have the ability to do what you're doing and talk about this in this way. And I think that, again, that's a whole reason that we try to do this, because I think that there's a lot more communication, more about like, transparency about these types of things, because everybody feels certain ways, throughout their life, whether it's in certain situations with jobs or relationships or whatever it is, and it hurts me to see it sometimes, because I've been there, and I've still been there in the past, like even in the more recent past. But man, it's interesting, and I like hearing those. I like asking those questions, because it really makes it makes me and other people think, like, what is your favorite thing to do, right? And and one of the things is, if you're not doing that now, how can you move towards that? How can you, if you actually, like, here's an example. So so you're saying that right now your job is like kind of okay, you're working a lot, obviously you get enjoyment out of like, playing the harmonica, playing guitar, music in general, things like that. And you've had a big life shift here, but like, do you want to continue? Like, do you want to continue to get better? Like, do you want to continue to get happier and try to do things? I mean, and I want to unpack that. I want to unpack that thought too that you had about the world and like meaning like nothing. Maybe we could start there. Like, try to unpack that thought for me. When would you say that you started feeling that way, and what, just try to describe it a little bit more in depth, like that everything is kind of like meaningless in a sense.
Well, I guess you could say it started when I stopped believing in God.
Yeah.
We were raised Catholics, and I don't know how you feel about it. And I mean, everyone can believe what they want. The only time that bothers me is when you say, like, take like issue like abortion and pose in the public. That's when it becomes an issue. But tell yourself, believe whatever you need to get through the day. Just keep it to yourself. Don't be obnoxious about it. But so gave up being a Christian a long time ago. And as far as God goes, obviously I stopped believing in that. What I believe is, just, I guess I consider myself an atheist, I guess. But, the thing is, when it comes down to everyone, I guess you would say this is more agnostic. There could be anything after life. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, it's faith for a reason. That's the word, but some people get real hung up on like, no, this is fact. No, it's faith. It says it right there in your goddamn book. But, I'm not going to sit here and pretend or just say for a fact that, what I believe, which is once we die, that's it. You're over, done, cease to exist. And God, I hope so.
Yeah.
His life is exhausting. But, it's really, I don't know. That's where it started, I guess. And over the years, and, things happen, events happen. And, like I said, like I gave up on making music as a career as the years went on. And especially after college. And it's like an example right now. Like I have my rig set up right here. Here's my pedal board's all covered up. Here's my guitars and shit like that. I put it out in the open. Well, it took me a while to get it all unpacked, because if it's out in the open, then maybe I'll be more inclined to play it. But even like as far as like even after Berklee, like I didn't play much at all for a couple of years, and then I started taking lessons again, started to get back into it, and then recently, since coming out here, man, I've barely played at all, and I've never felt more of a disconnect from my instrument. And what I mean by that is I look at the guitar, and over the years, I used to feel like guilt, as of like, oh man, it's just sitting right there, and I know there's all kinds of this potential over the years. And you know what's comforting is the potential when it comes to music is still unlimited for me. I feel it. It's just buried down deep. But like there's been times where I thought it was all just going to come exploding out into this creative burst, and I was going to get into it. But the thing is, it takes time and patience, and I don't have nearly enough of either one of those.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing is, I'm looking at it and I feel nothing, and that's even worse. I think most of the time I just look and it doesn't even cross my mind as an acknowledgement that it's there. And that's kind of, to a degree, that's kind of new, because before, you know, it's the guilt used to be there, and now it's kind of just, I don't know if my mind's elsewhere or just, I don't know, but there's a huge disconnect between me and my primary instrument, which is guitar. Now I have been having some fun with the harmonica lately, and I kind of make myself feel a little bit better. As, you know, if it's not one instrument, then maybe it's something else. I got a mandolin too. I was feeling around with that for a little bit last year, and now it's harmonica. And you know, I found with me though is like, yeah, music does make me happy. It's one of the those things that I know. It's just it all comes back around in cycles. It all makes its way back around. So like the past, like, you know, half a year or so, I haven't played much, but it'll come back around. And you know, there's less Ramona, say hi to Mark. They keep me company. I'm glad they're here. I'll tell you what, real quick before I forget. The downstairs tent, how I brought in Hobbs. She's like, "Hey, you know anyone who wants kitties?" And I wanted kitties. I just didn't think I was gonna. It was like after a week I moved here, I took him in. So I took him in one, and then I'm fucking gone for like 14 hours a day. So I'm like, "You must be lonely." So I went downstairs. I'm like, "Can I take one more?" You know. And so they're sisters, they're calico cats. And I read online, I was like, if you get two calico cats from the same litter, they'll be best friends forever. I'm like, great. But the first night, I thought they were going to fucking kill each other, man. The first night, for a couple hours, they were making the most insane, just fucking cat noises. Like, I thought they were going to fucking kill each other. I'm like, oh, shit, horrible idea. Like, do I intervene? Do I let them work it out? And eventually, I just took a glass of water. And I'm like, enough. And I did that to both of them. And they bonded. Like, this mean man just sprayed us with water. But I think they needed that. Or not. By the next day, they're together. But I thought that was funny. I thought you two were going to fucking kill each other. But
I'm glad you could get that sorted out. That's that's a pretty incredible story there.
But I'm glad they're here. They're great company. And that's a tangent, man. I'm gonna apologize again for these tangents. So
dude,
where were we at?
There's no need, man. I don't apologize, man. It's all good.
I apologize for everything, and half the time I know I don't need to, but I feel like I just hate to be a burden and an inconvenience to people. And so, you know, it's just I swear, you know, at the end of every sentence is almost just sorry every time. And some people are like, "What are you saying sorry for?" I'm like, I don't know. There's absolutely no reason at all for me to say sorry there at all. But you know, I'm saying it anyway. Yeah. Just by being me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let me go back to while we're on that point, because like I think again, it's really interesting to hear the perspectives, and I try to do my best to kind of provide my outlook on it. I'm not like a fucking psychologist or anything like that, but I really do enjoy these types of conversations from a you know, a psychological perspective, if you want to say. Like, I understand, I really enjoy trying to hear, you know, we go throughout our lives, and like you said, right now, for instance, you're just kind of like with yourself in your apartment on your mail route. You know, you see other people, but you know yourself pretty well, but you don't really know other people, right? And it's the same for every single person. So it's like when you get into a conversation like this, I really enjoy it because you can really tap in almost to what other people's minds, how they work, and the situations, and like the way that everything goes. So, you know, anytime that I hear something, I always want to try to kind of like talk about it and go a little further with it. You mentioned earlier that when somebody pays you a compliment, and kind of just like you shrug it off and you just like let it roll down your back or whatever. When if you ever get shit from people, do you take that to heart?
No, I just usually give it right back. I mean, if it's let's say if on a personal level by someone that I care about, that'd be different. But if it's just some person, like I don't take shit, man. Like fucking, or someone's, it doesn't take much for me to. I go into defensive mode. It's like kind of like I guess a reflex. I will go immediately in defensive mode. I'll be like, what the fuck did you just say? Like I'm not afraid to give it back to people as far as that goes. But like compliments, yeah, I kind of just go into way more of a shell there because it's like my mind almost, I guess how I see it is I've been playing, like, let's just say guitar. They hear me do something and they think it's decent. And then that almost builds like a standard. Like, I've always been kind of decent at guitar and people, told me that decent enough, competent at least. And I could be a goddamn monster right now, man. I could be fucking, because it's been since I was 12. And if I consistently stay with it and like since what years at 20, over the past like 4 years or so, like maybe like 8 months has been spent like actively practicing. And that's why I got lessons again a couple years ago with this dude, Greg Jones. Great guy, graduated Duquesne, has a master's, and now he's in Nashville. Fantastic guitarist, and he's a cool dude. I didn't know until the last lesson, because I thought he's like late 20s, like 27, 28. But no, we were the same age the whole time. And he thought I was older than him.
Yeah.
It's like, really? You're fucking 24, dude?
Yeah.
I thought you were, But that was kind of interesting because like he was proficient. Like he's one of those guys that you could walk into like an open jazz club or something and just step up and keep up with people playing jazz. And that's something, like I had a hard time in a jazz band up at Berklee because when it comes to different chord progressions and playing over the changes, if it's not just the simple 1-4-5, the blues, because you gotta know the scales, you gotta know what you're doing and shit like that. So it gets complicated. But I haven't played a whole lot. But if I hear someone say something nice about that's standard, and I'm like, oh man, they heard something, they think I'm good. Now the next thing I play, what if it's not good? What if it's what if I'm fucking this up? And then I didn't used to be. I used to just be completely comfortable and confident. I'm not a confident man, Mark, but I've lost.
Do you want to be confident?
I think everyone needs a bit of a healthy dose of confidence. So they
I mean, you don't want to be egotistical. That's bad.
No, but I hate any kind of attention. I try not to be, and sometimes with my tone of voice, like I never try to be a pretentious prick like that. And if I say something that I'm like matter of fact, like this is it, it's just because of the way I speak. And my throat's fucked, man. It's cold outside and smoke, and it's that time of year, phlegm, Yeah. But I just I try not to do that. The hell was I saying? It doesn't take much for me, man. I lose my train of thought. It really doesn't.
It's all right. It's all good. It's all good. I have a question for you. Trying to go deeper into like trying to understand your perspective again. So I think again, one of the things we take for granted is what individuals do in a sense. Like, so for instance, there's 24 hours in a day. You spend some time sleeping, you spend some time at work, you spend some time doing other things, right? Like, kind of the thirds rule almost in a sense. I know for you, it's way more work than it is for most people, right? But in general, it's like 8, 8, and 8, right? So 8 hours work, 8 hours sleep, 8 hours doing something else, give or take some of the numbers there. Do you think that, and ultimately the question is, what is the things that you do? But like, do you think that let me do it a different way, because I've never really asked this question in this manner. Let me tell you what I do first, and then kind of give you a question in behind it there. When I'm working or when I have downtime or something, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just telling you what I do. I'm always like interested in new shit. I'm always trying to figure out like new, like we said earlier, like listening to podcasts and things like that, and YouTube videos, and trying to figure out how to do different things, right? Almost a progress type thing. Do you think subconsciously that the things that we consume and the things that we do almost like kind of in our free time, I guess you could say, but like those types of things, do you think those have an impact on you? And ultimately the question is like, again, kind of like, what do you think that is almost where some of the change lies in the way that you kind of see the world?
Yeah, man. I mean, ultimately, you are what you do, and that goes well beyond work. Work is, let's say, if you don't if you're not fortunate enough to do what you love to do for a living, it's fine. You still have the rest of the day. And, and let's say I worked like 12 hours. Like I usually start at like 7:45. Lately, I've been starting at 6. So I get home a little bit earlier, but I got to go to bed earlier. Let's say if I come home, put everything away, go through my process, get a shower, I still got like a couple hours before, should get some sleep. It's what you do at that time that, ultimately that makes what you are. So as of right now, I consider, I guess, what more of I am is a stoner dude who watches TV and sleeps and eats. But the thing is, I get home and I'm tired, of course, but that's all just excuses. No matter what. I mean, you could take like Wes Montgomery as an example. He plays with his thumb, and it stemmed from when he was practicing at night. His parents or his mom came in and said, "Stop, you're being too loud." So he started playing with his thumb. It's quieter than a pick. Or some trumpet player, like maybe Dizzy Gillespie or somebody, used to play into I think it was Charlie Parker. He played into his pillow at night. That's the level of commitment, that, so yes, last night I thought about it, I was like, I'm fucking beat, but I could still pick up this guitar and just practice or just play it if I want to. The thing is, you got to want it. And the level of interest and desire for not just guitar, just, a lot of things over the years has faded pretty drastically. And it's not that when I do pick, it's gotten to the point where over the past year, like there's been times where I picked up the guitar and like for like an hour or two at practice. And, before, that's always made me feel that's, you do something that's generally you feel better when you're productive, you do something, right? And then over the past year, there's been points where like I transcribe something, practice or whatever, and I still feel nothing afterwards. Like what I just didn't make me feel any better. Like it just kind of like, not a waste of time, but like, that what I used to get from the instrument, I still didn't really feel any good about it. And that's been something that's kind of new over the past year. And that's not like every time, there's still times since I've been out here, I pick it up. I'm like, cool. I still got some chops, it's kind of to the point now, and hopefully in time it will progress to the point I would like to, I just want to do it for myself, man. It's not, and I want to make some music, that was what I was going to school for, was production. But, I have Logic and I know a little bit about it, but not well enough to, because really it's unlimited, man. There's so much unlimited potential, just, and I've wasted a lot of that over the years because I think about the things I could have done, which is hard not to think about sometimes. But like, if you're looking at something like music, yeah, it's like, mind starts going off into tangents about what can be done, or I hear something. And then I get excited about it. And like, I don't know what it is nowadays, but the excitement almost immediately goes into anxiety. And then I can't really handle it too well. And so I kind of just walk away from it half the time because I get excited because like my mind's like, I could do all this shit. It's endless. It's amazing. Fucking endless. I'm glad that that's still there. It's just buried down deeper, and it's hard to access. But like, I know that I could fucking do anything in production or wherever when it comes to music. I just don't know exactly how to yet. And there, as far as the instrument goes, but oh shit, I had a point.
No, I get it, man. It sounds like you're your own worst enemy, man. And the best part about that is that you're your own worst enemy. So you can just, it's easy. It sounds easier than it is, but you can fix it, right?
Yeah.
So like, I feel that the first thing, maybe the first step is I would urge you to just say, fuck the past. The past is like important for learning, but at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking mean anything, right? And like you said, ultimately nothing means anything. If you operate under that, then the past really doesn't fucking mean anything. So don't let the past fuck with you, man. Like, I mean, it's no big deal. Like, it's whatever's happened has happened. And the great part, here's the great part. Again, try to put a little bright side and optimism into everything, because I think that's the only way we get through some of the shit.
I appreciate that. That's something that I should do that more often, because I'm the opposite. I'm the cynical negative view of it, and it's off-putting to people. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm sorry.
It takes time to change, man. I mean, I just little by little, especially when you're in a tough spot, it is so hard to get to the next. Like when you're in a tough spot, it's so hard to get out of that. But that journey starts to change you, right? And then when you do get to that other spot, it's like, fuck, this is incredible. Like this is great, where You don't have to do shit that you hate. You don't have to, I mean, there's always going to be tough times. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, nothing's fucking like, you know, rainbows and sunshine all the time. But at the same time, when you get to the point where you're not like taken aback and, you know, like, you know, downtrodden by all the shit that's happened in the past, or like just anything in your life, any, you know, little shitty thing that you have to deal with, and you're always kind of looking at it from the positive point of view, it really starts to change you. And then obviously you can try to spread that to other people, which is great, you know, via music or via, you know, information or whatever it is. So, but what I would say though is, you know, I would urge you to start there. I would urge you to do that, because I think that, you know, you've said it yourself, you definitely still have a fuck ton of potential and a whole shitload of time, right, to do all sorts of stuff. So there's no, you know, there's no like fucking clock that's really like ticking that drastically. You know, we're only 24 here, so we got a lot of time to do a lot of shit. And, you know, again, you're in a fortunate spot with what you're doing. And I also had a point there, and I don't know exactly what it was, but like there, you know, the positivity, man, the optimism, the just saying fuck the stuff that's in the past because it doesn't matter, and getting that like monkey off your back in a sense, whatever's happened. Oh, I do have one important thing that I wanted to say. So here, think about this, right? Just think about this. The beautiful part of the past, though, right, is that you have no idea what would have happened. Like, you have no fucking idea. Like you like, here, I'll give you a drastic example. Okay. Like, you're looking at the past, right? And you're looking at your time at Cal, you're looking at time at Berklee, and you're looking at you dropping out as a bad thing, right? But where you're at now could have been totally different. It could have been positive. But here's something you probably never thought about, right? Let's say you continued at Berklee, and then in the next semester, you like went outside for one of your classes and you got hit by a bus and you died. Like, okay, so that's an extreme example, and I kind of stole that. I kind of stole that from Gary Vee, because he always says that type of shit. But the point is, though, it's extremely important to almost like not think of the positive or the negative when it comes to like the routes that you could have chose, right? Because it doesn't fucking matter. Like, there is no right choice. You just pick one, you go one way, you go the other way, and then whatever happens. And if you don't like where you're at, then you adapt and you move and you do something else, just like you did. You have it in you, man. I mean, fuck, you absolutely have it in you. There's very few people that I know that would say, I really like the outdoors. I enjoy the greenery, the forest, the terrain of the West Coast. I'm going to move there from Pittsburgh. And you did all the shit that you had to. You had to go through all the hoops and everything like that to get transferred. Did all that stuff and you got the fuck out there, man. And that's a huge step. I think you should give yourself a lot of credit for that. Not to the egotistical level, obviously, but there's a moderation in everything. You're not extremely critical, and you're not egotistical. You're right in the middle.
Yeah, I'm never pushing the egotistical part of it, because I will not. In terms of giving myself credit, we've talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's yeah, the reactions I get from people out here, they're like, "You came from Pittsburgh? Wow, that's crazy." I'm like, it's really not that. It's just a change. It's geographically a different location. I mean, and then there's a lot more that goes along with it, of course. But you know, it's in terms of like, you know, I've done what seemed to be more difficult things. You know, I went out with my dad, and it was a great time. We stopped at the Badlands, Yellowstone, and when we got out here, it was Rainier, and it was great to have my dad there with me for support. And also, the farthest west in this country he's been before then was somewhere in Ohio, so not very far.
Yeah.
So to show him in the drive across the country again was awesome, and I'm glad that I got to share that with him. I'm gonna take him down to the Grand Canyon, and I gotta take my mom to Ireland someday, and I will do that. Yeah, you know, as far as the past goes, that used to fucking me a lot more. Like nowadays, like it still comes to mind every now and again. I don't really, as far as the whole events at Berklee and Cal U, like it's long enough now where like I don't really care about it. It's just, you know, it bothers me way less. It only takes, you know, every once in a blue moon, I'll think about it, like, whoa. But you know, you're right. Like, what if I stayed there? You know, it's hard not to drive yourself nuts in hindsight, and I try not to. A lot of the past I can't remember because I just can't remember shit. And, you know, and a lot of things I don't want to remember. Not, you know, just some things I don't want to remember in my mind, just by, you know, defense mode, push that out. And you ever have that happen where like something comes to mind into your brain, and you're like, why the fuck did I just remember that? I thought
Yes.
that I pressed that a long time ago, so it still comes out. But it's really not that, as far as Berklee goes, I'm not that, it doesn't really mean much to me anymore. It's just I once. I'm just hoping, as far as like music goes, like or anything goes, I pick it up when I want to. And then my hope is, if I do, and when that happens, it'll happen more often, and you also have to give a conscious effort towards things. And then it comes down to what makes you happy. What do you think will make you happy? Will being a better guitarist make me happy? Or make me feel better, or just, accomplished, cause like there's been days, like on my days off, like this past Sunday, I don't think I did anything. I think I slept all day, smoked weed, and watched Kill Bill 1 and 2, and just watched movies. And there's nothing wrong with those days. You need those days, nothing. But at the end of the day, it's just like, it feels better to have some kind of sense of fulfillment, like you've done something, So, and guitar, I still love and enjoy music. It just it just needs to make. Sometimes I need to let it come back around. Sometimes I think I need to be more active about it. Actually, that's more importantly, be more active about it, just a little at a time. And, the whole, Mark Maron jokes sometimes that he says something along the lines of, when it comes to the guitar, he didn't try in his life to make that like his profession, his thing. So he's not one of those guys who will constantly be haunted by, what could have been or anything. Because he's got his things like, no pressure. I didn't try to make this a living, so it doesn't haunt me, And I think about that sometimes. I'm like, but that whole idea, it doesn't haunt me like it used to, like a couple years ago. Like a couple years ago, I'm like, get more fucked up about it. But now it's just like, especially being out here, like everything's different now. Everything's changed. Like I got this fresh start pretty much out here. And anything could be what you want it to be. And honestly, I believe as, just as human beings, we have a lot more control over our lives than we like to think. We can attribute to things that are out of our control. But really, if you want something done, if you want to do something, you can. When it comes down to being blessed, or like, my dad says, oh, you've been blessed with the talents of guitar. No, it's because I put the time into it, time and practice. You want to get good at something, you want to do something, all it takes is time and just doing it. It's really what it comes down to. There's probably things out of our control, but there's a lot more, I think, that we can do that people don't want to admit, So yeah, I could fucking, I could be a way better guitarist right now if I wanted to over the years, just to keep with it or whatever. I could be anywhere right now if I wanted to.
When was the last time you played guitar?
A little bit this morning. My rhythms are all thrown off. And now I wake up at like 6 because I wake up at like 4:45 over the past couple weeks. It's been a couple weeks. What's today? The 20th? Oh, shit, we're almost there. Hopefully. God, I'm not sure, man. It's been Christmas all year with packages, and it just got worse. And I'm hoping it'll get better in January, but who knows, man? Everyone knows the convenience of just having everything handed to them, delivered to them. So,
yeah.
I mean, when it comes down to it, I mean, it has to be the future of the post office anyway. If it wants to survive, it's just going to be packages. I mean, mail. But come 50 years from now, do you think I'm still going to be passing out mail? Well, I won't be working, but think mail, physical. I understand having physical copies of things, but everything, like 50 years from now, most of that shit's going to be electronic. There's not going to be like no mail. It's going to be parcels, like UPS or FedEx. So, not silver lining. I'm used to like heavy days. This whole year, it's been Christmas all goddamn year.
Yeah, I feel you.
But there we go. Gone again. Don't know what to talk
about. No. I was asking the question. When was the last time you played guitar? And the reason that I asked that question is because you said a little bit this morning, but where I was going with that was if you played like, let's say last week or something, and it sounds like you've been playing somewhat infrequently, and maybe it sounds like you've been playing infrequently, but you want to be playing more to an extent, but you can't get yourself to play more. And I know you've been doing the harmonica and stuff like that, and I definitely understand doing more than one thing. That's what I'm doing here with all this shit. But what I was trying to hit on was if you stare at your guitar and you feel like you don't want to do it for some reason, or you don't feel inclined to do it, I was trying to go back to the last time that you played guitar and think, what was the catalyst that made you pick it up? And I think you hit on it earlier, actually. You looked at shit, you watched shit, and you were influenced by other musicians, or you saw a cool thing with the harmonica, or you saw a cool thing with guitar, and you're like, hey, I'm gonna try that, because you see other people doing shit, and it's like, fuck, I can do that. Like, yeah. You're a great guitarist, you could do that, right? And And this kind of goes back and all ties back to the other thing where what I'm talking about, like, you know, podcasts and YouTube and like building websites and shit like that, the stuff that I try to consume in my free time. I'll tell you what, honestly, man, the first time that I noticed this was when I was working and in college, and I started consuming just out of almost no reason. I just started watching a lot of like Dave Ramsey and fucking finance content, right?
Dave Ramsey, the fucking man, dude. Fucking who's that? Who's that class in senior year? What was the business teacher's name that we had at Canavan? What was his name?
I don't know if I had that. Wanamaker?
Wanamaker. Yeah, that guy was a fucking prick. He was a douchebag. But Dave Ramsey showed us that, and that guy knows what he's talking about. I do have a Roth IRA that I've had for a while, and
there
I do
you go.
have a 401k set up, and I just opened up another one. They call it TSP with the post office.
Yeah.
One's before taxes, one's after taxes. So I don't know how fucking retirement works, man. I mean, I'll get there, but
I can tell you all about it if you want.
Yeah, honestly, I can use more about it, but I have like basically like 3 kind of different IRAs going right now. So I'm hoping like if I just keep that going, maybe by 60, money enough. I don't know how it works, man. I'll get back to you on that. But.
Yeah, no, you'll be good. You'll be good. I'm sure. Just keep stashing it. But specifically the thing that I was saying about Dave Ramsey and like the finance was at some point in there, I was like, you know, I'm just going to watch all this content. I'm going to just take in all this stuff. And then again, I'm trying to relate it to these other instances. It's like, I really believe strongly that the stuff that you consume, you're going to want to put back out or you're going to want to try, right? Because we're just naturally curious, I think, in a lot of ways. And that's what I would say is I really think that is something that could really help as far as getting you. I feel weird when I say this because I don't want to like recommend shit because I'm not like who the fuck am I to recommend shit? But at the same time, though.
I said something about being pretentious earlier. No, advice. I'm always open to advice. Yeah. It's like go ahead and say like a declarative statement, like maybe you should do this, or just say do this because you know what, you're probably right. And so I'm not put off by like, you know, it's just some things, you know, people are just right on. So and you know you got a level head on your shoulders. So advice, please send it my way. That's fine.
No, I mean, again, though, it's a weird spot for me, and like, you know, I appreciate that. It's a weird spot for me. Like anytime that I try to, again, give advice, like I try to do it like passively through like social media and stuff like that because I see things and I'm like I want to give this to people. Like I took this information and it's the way that I live my life now. Is I learn, I kind of implement on it, I try to, you know, understand it, and then I use it, and then I'm like, okay, hey, this is what I'm gonna share with you, whoever. And specifically when I can do that in like a conversation, I mean, I think that's even great too, because, you know, we're all just trying to figure it out, man. You know, it's like you can look at fucking Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, people that like are, you know, have it figured out or like, oh my God, looked up to. They don't have it fucking figured out. Like you don't understand. Like they don't have that shit figured out. Like they're getting divorces and shit. They got like, you know, like we look at people so one dimensionally, and it's like that's not what I want to be. I want to be fucking all around. You know?
Yeah, more transparent. You know, because like it's easy to, you know, from the surface, anything and anyone can look good. You know, but there's a lot more to the person. I forget who. It's like Occam's razor. And then there's somebody who countered that. I don't know what his name was, some philosopher dude or something, but there's a million variables and too many different factors going on. You know, I find like, you know, sometimes, you know, the simplest explanation a lot of times isn't for me because there's like there's so, too many exceptions to things. So you take one person and how they view that situation and the same situation with another person, you know, by example is a great way to learn. That's how I got through. That's my best way to learn. That's how I got through geometry. Fucking, you know, you see something and you see how it can be done different ways and you just apply it. You know, you see something that can be done, like saying guitar, you know, that you see that it's physically possible. Like, oh, I can never do that. Are you a competent human being? Do you have any kind of disability? No, you're on the same playing field. You can do that if you just put the time into it. And the thing I think comes to me is what deters me sometimes more often than not is I get an idea for something or I come up with something and where it can go from there. And how much time, you know, I have the utmost respect for people who go out and actually do things and make something tangible for us to enjoy. Like anyone who put anything out there or like what you're doing right now, who does something for us to enjoy, actually puts it out there. I've written a million ideas, like a bunch of fucking like, you know, 30-second ideas or whatever. But, you know, I don't have a recorded, you know, mixed mastered album out there. by me. No, it's not out there because I haven't created it. Didn't go and do it. And so when it comes to songwriting, man, and just like playing, I get, my mind races and I hear it in my head, like after like so long, the ear is always listening, and subconsciously with the brain and everything, how that works, listening to music, if you actively listen to like, something, you need the meat and the potatoes too. Mark, you need the jazz, you need the, maybe some classical, but then, you got your other stuff, like top 40 pop hits or whatever, but, they said that in school, like, if you're listening, and that would help with improvisation and shit like that. But it's to the point where, you start hearing, thinking music in your head and, what you could do with it. And then I start to get excited. And then, like I said earlier, the anxiety starts to come. And then, I'm like, that's how much time that will take. And it's like, I don't know,
what else are you doing, man?
Nothing.
Nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not being an asshole when I say that. I'm trying to give you a different perspective, right?
Oh, I know.
Because I was in the same fucking place. Like, it's like, what else? I don't know if you saw, I love this fucking phrase. I'm going to use it. But what's the alternative? It's like, what's the alternative, man?
Yeah, I know, man. And I keep, I could be, there's nothing I could be doing a lot worse. I mean, if I took the time to do it and make it into something, and that comes back around to, you do things because you have the choice and because it makes you feel good, because you enjoy it, and it's just like, it varies each day, man. I swear, like some days I'm like, yeah, that felt good. Other days not. And I guess that happens with everyone, but like consistency, that would be more of a nice thing. And, starting off small, I guess, but like, I don't know, it's just a whole habit of how you live, and I get home from work and, I could say I'm tired all I want, and I am, or whatever, but like, I don't have to immediately go smack the bong and then throw on the Mandalorian or something. I could go, pick up the guitar or something.
Let me pose a scenario for you. Let's say that you, like, let's say somehow, some way, right? Like, you say to yourself, you set a goal, and you're gonna have an album out by the time, in 1 year, we'll say, like, you're gonna have a 10, 20 track album, something like that, out by the end of 2021. What happens next? How do you feel? How do you handle that? What do you think your instant reaction almost to that, in a sense, would be? And like, what are you like? I'm trying to get to the point where it's like, what is your reaction, right? I'm trying to think, because let me again provide a little anecdote. I really feel that if you don't have an aim, like if you don't have somewhere where you're aiming at, then you're never going to move forward, because you can't get to where you want to be unless you know where you're going, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? Let's say that you set a goal, hypothetically right now, you're going to have a 20 track album by the end of 2021. What happens next?
See, as I'm thinking about it right now, is I would have to learn a lot more about production. As far as going into the DAW, the digital audio workstation, like Logic or Pro Tools or stuff like that. I'm still not very well versed in that. But I know enough where I could, get some out there and know how to work, the MIDI and stuff like that. I have stuff on my laptop that, I've done before, and, it all comes back, it's few and far between where I actually go into one of those and actually start recording something, but it comes back, and, I'm competent enough where I can put something out, it doesn't have to be, studio quality and shit like that, but something related to that, I think about like how in like a couple year increments at a time, like 24, I'm about to be 25 soon, let's say by 27, 2 years of just consistent daily practice. Doesn't have to be a couple hours, just say like a half hour. My friend Pasir does that with the drums, and he's gotten better, because he and piano, it doesn't take much, it just needs to be consistent, and so I think about that sometimes, like, if I started 2 years from now, it'd be pretty fucking good. You could apply that with anything. Or like, say, if I want to put out an album, well, what doesn't help is, I'm a procrastinator, and unless I have some kind of pressure elsewhere. And another thing is here, because I'm here by myself, and I'm the only one here to motivate myself to do anything, and I'm not a great self-motivator. So maybe that's something to also work on. But if I was to put out an album, we'll say 12 track, 20 20 is a little bit much.
Yeah.
But we'll play 12-track album by the end of 2021. If I actually wanted to complete it and do it, I'd probably have to start now. And because, you know, writing is one thing. I've always viewed myself more of a guitarist than a songwriter. And to me, there's a distinction. There's, you know, musicians, let's say, for example, the people in the pit of an orchestra, you know, and they're, you know, session musicians or whatever. That's what they do. They play new music. And then there's people who write everything you listen to. Somebody wrote it, you know, and that's, you know, stressing more of the creative side of the brain. And what I need to do more there is I don't have a problem coming up with ideas. It's just stringing it together, taking the time to make it into something, and then being satisfied enough and not being too hung up on it for too long. Because something can remain unfinished forever if you don't say.
Perfectionism is deadly.
Yeah.
It's deadly.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's something that's bit me in the ass for being a little bit too much on is the perfectionism, because you just gotta be, you know, happy, or at least, you know, say that's enough at some point, you know. But, you know, taking it and putting it into something. So we'll say it's writing the song and writing it, and then you need to come up with the other parts for, you know, because I will put like MIDI drums or whatever and the other, you know, instruments at it, and then you need to record it, make that sound good, and then you need to come up with everything else and the DAW, and then you need to mix it, and then if you know what you're doing well enough, you can master it, which everyone does. I don't know. When it comes to mastering, I don't really know. I know it increases the volume, but there's a lot more to that. There's a lot of shit that I should have known by now, because I take interest in these things. But
I don't know, man. It sounds like you got all the answers. What I mean by that is not like you know how to do everything perfectly, but what I'm saying is you know how to do it. You know,
yeah,
like you know how to do it.
Like I can look at music is one of the examples. Is it's clear as day what I would need to do if that's something I would want to be. You know, if I want to be good, if I want to do this, it's something. I mean, it's been fucking 12 years, just by playing guitar, and then everything else came with it. Long enough where I can look at something and, you know, here it is. This is what I need to do, and now going to do it. That's a big thing, man. That's the biggest thing. You gotta go and do it, and it's just not gonna be done in a day. It's
for sure,
and it takes time. And it's just like, you know, it reaches the point where, you know, and I break my mind about it and go back and around these stupid loops, and then it all comes back around to, do I really care? Do I really fucking care? Is it something I really care about? Do I feel anything? And half the time, no, I feel nothing inside. You know, you're supposed to feel something, right?
Yeah.
And when you don't feel anything, you're like, well, okay, I'm out of here, you know? And I'm not saying like I'm like a miserably depressed person. I'm not
numb?
Numb, yeah, definitely. That's for most days, you know. And you know, the thing is, like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not asking, you know, anyone listen, don't be sympathetic, you know. Fucking, you know, people get depressed, you know, we ups and downs in life, whatever. But you know, it's existence, you know. We all exist. We're all here, you know. And you know, you just get my thing lately, and you know, with the circumstances moving and how much I've been working and shit like that, and still think back to, you know, where I'm at sometimes, and I'm looking around, I'm like, I still can't believe I'm fucking here, you know. And that draws more thoughts about whatever. And right now it's just kind of just get through the day with a lot of things. But you know, it's when it comes to what makes me happy, a lot of times I can't really answer that question nowadays. I mean, I know things that, you know, I still take a little bit interest in, but like happiness, like some kind of like that kind of had that significant fulfillment of sorts to fill that void of just, you know, being around, you know. There's not like one single thing that, you know, like music used to be that, I guess, as an example. I'm just going back to that example because, you know, really when it comes down to it, I don't do a whole lot of much else. That's the best example I can use.
Well, I think it's the example, man. I think that it's you. I think that you've been doing it for a long time, and like you said, you've worked very hard on it in the past. And you know, it's a double-edged sword. It's not like you have to make music a part of your life moving forward. You could just sell your shit and never play it again. But I don't think that would make you happy. I think that it being in your life is always going to be something that is gonna have a net positive rather than, a net negative of it.
Oh yeah,
So
I agree. It's always going to be here with me, and I'm going to have like, probably 30 guitars by the time I'm 60, and it's always going to be here, and I'm always going to enjoy it. And it's just, maybe not getting caught up in the how much, maybe just the quality of doing it or something like that. I'm not sure, but there's all kinds of other things, to keep you occupied. Like I joke, I'm like, by 30, I want to quit smoking. I want to be fluent in Spanish, and I want to be a master lock picker. I want to pick locks, Mark.
yeah.
Because, some people have Sudoku. I want to get good at picking locks. It's just another puzzle. I got no malicious intent. I don't want to break into people's houses and shit. Yeah, I said that to a couple of people, and they just look at me like, no, man, I'm not going to break into your house. I just want to know how to pick locks. It's like kind of one of those niche skills. Not too many people.
Yeah.
You never know when it might come in handy, man.
Yeah.
But those are a couple of things, like learning a different language, lock picking, puzzles. That requires thought, and energy. So, I mean, there's things, other things besides music that I can do as a productive thing for my mind.
What are you doing? What are you doing to pursue those?
Nothing yet. Nothing yet. See, maybe I'm putting too much of a timeline on it, because like it just started off with smoking by 30, which I just view it far enough down the line. That's like about 5-6 years, where I'm like, by then, maybe my thing is with time is, if enough time, thinking like 25 years down the line, I'll be fucking Miles Davis on guitar by then, right? But I don't think that's exactly how it works, man. Just because that much time is there, maybe that's there's no urgency there. Oh, I got all this time, and me being a procrastinator, all of a sudden, the years go by, and you're like, oh shit, I thought I would have been there by now. But it's what you do. It's what you do with the time. And also, I've also, try not to let things get to me as much. I've deprived myself of a lot of things over the years. There's a lot of things I can live without, because I've lived without for a long time. And settling and just acceptance. Now that almost sounds like a negative thing. Accept all the shit that just happens in your life. No, that's not exactly what I'm saying. But if you have the ability to accept and move on, that's important to have. But I like an example, like if I see something that works one way, even though I know it can work better ways, if it works, if it's enough, if it's there and it's working, I'm just gonna probably leave it. It takes me a long time to get around to doing something differently, and then once I do, I'm like, whoa, that's a game changer. Meanwhile, I probably thought of it months ago, just didn't get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just I kind of want to not focus, but kind of just let things happen and let them come, if that makes sense. Rather, I mean, you need a bit of both. You need to actively pursue things if that's what you want to, but as things arise, or kind of just as I'm going, because I found that the more I think about what I could be doing, the future of any kind, it doesn't have to be that very far down, or what I could do with this or wherever, the potential, it just it just breaks my mind. It's too much to handle, I guess. So I need to maybe think less and just start, just making a habit of just maybe picking it up, just not even thinking about, just pick it up, just start playing, and just something like that. I think too much about things sometimes.
Yeah. I think every day when you have some time, maybe you just go, like you walk in the door, right, from work. You might be tired, obviously, you might not want to do anything. But if you just like walk over to your guitar and just like say, this sounds stupid as fuck, but stay with me. You just walk over to your guitar and you just say like 1, 2, 3, and you just pick it the fuck up, and you just do it.
It's those kinds of things where you need to try to, and something stupid like that. But if it gets you doing it, then just keep with it.
Yeah.
And what I miss is like when you're a kid and when anything just is new to you, there's just that pure joy. Like when I was like 12 and shit like that, it's just that pure just joy. I used to sit on my couch for hours and just play guitar, because it's just something I'm like, yeah. I used to get upset if a day passed by with whatever activities going on that day, if I didn't get to pick up the guitar. I'm like, oh, I didn't play yesterday, I got to play longer today. And because I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was like, it's that kind of pure just enjoyment that I've come back around to. Like I get that. I haven't had that in years, but like over the past year and since being here a couple of days, it's just because there's not as much pressure anymore. With Berklee and Cal U, and there's a lot of pressure that obviously I couldn't handle.
Do you think? Well, wait a second. Hang on, time out. So when you were younger, right? You said like 12, and you were playing just like every day, right? Because you enjoyed it. Well,
Yeah.
I'm seeing a very stark difference between the way that you look at the guitar now and the way you looked at the guitar then. Then you looked at the guitar like a new friend or a new girlfriend or something like that, and you're just infatuated with it because you don't care. Like, you don't care about all the other shit. Like, you don't care about what these people are going to think of you at fucking Berklee. You don't give a shit about, what, your career path that you may or may not become a musician. You're not worried about any of that shit. You're just worried about playing music and the music that comes out of the fucking guitar, right?
Yeah, of course. And also,
I feel like almost sometimes we almost have to go back and channel that, because the other shit really doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter if other people fucking like it or not, because ultimately at the end of the day, the only way you get people to like your shit is when you just do it because you want to do it. I think that's one of the best ways, honestly.
oh, that's the only way to go about it. And as far as like it's only for me. Cause for me, I know I could do some pretty great things if I actually took the time and made it into something with guitar. That's why I think why it's more of an issue sometimes, is because I know what could be in that potential I was talking about, and I know I could make I could come up with some cool shit. And if I just did it, I just want to do it for myself, and that for that reason. As far as anything else, I don't care. Two people can listen to it. It can get lost into the bowels of the internet. I don't care. But, you're talking about channeling when something's new and fresh, man. Like when you see something for the first time, or you do something for the first time, it's no matter what it is, like that, it's harder as time goes on, as you learn more, and to channel that, that fresh experience and shit. It's like, it's so new, and it's just pure enjoyment, because, it's new, and everything you do for the first time is obviously it's not going to be quite the same. But that feeling, I mean, it wasn't just for the first day. It was for a couple of years. I mean, I remember playing at the talent show at St. Philip's, and me, Zach, and Dom, and Fat and Furious, we played Brain Stew wrong. We got power chords wrong. That was the first year I picked up the guitar. It's the 1 and the 5. We were playing the 1 and the 4. So we got power chords wrong. But the next year, I was there ripping through Black Dog and Danny California.
I remember that.
Mr. A looked at me like while we're in the music room downstairs at the school. He's like, "Man, you got good." And I think about sometimes, I'm like, "Oh, fuck. I mean, if I did that in a year, then yeah, I guess so." But like at the same time, you did it more, and it's a matter of interest, and it's just that's why I'm trying. I think I need to think less about it, or just I don't know, man. I when it comes down to just doing things, I don't know. Maybe if I just think, if I start thinking too much about it, and then it just starts to drive my brain nuts. I'm like, I'm not sure if I can. That's too much to handle today. I'm not sure if I can do that. So maybe I think simplifying things just will make it better. I'm still here, by the way. I'm still.
I got you. Yeah, man. I think you just got to do it. I think you just got to do it, because I know you got it in you, and probably anybody else that hears this, even if they don't know you, they're gonna understand that you have it in you. I mean, like, just from the stories that I know, and from the stories that you just shared in almost 2 hours that we've been talking here, it flies by, huh?
Shit, how long have you been talking? Fuck, man, I don't want to keep you. If you have anything to do,
buddy, this is a good conversation. I have nothing taking me away from it, because I think that this is the shit. And when I say this is the shit, like, this is again, conversations like this are the reasons that I started having these podcast episodes, because you can't get this type of shit elsewhere. I mean, especially nowadays, everything is so saturated with fake shit and, like, artificial BS. And, I think we've definitely a lot of us have forgotten that everybody's still human, even though we've been, kind of digitized by all the shit that we have. And, a lot has gone on. I think I'm a big proponent of everything, but there is definitely dark sides of it, right? You talked about Mr. Robot. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, the Social Dilemma, the recent documentary on just, like, social media and that shit. Like, it is wild. And point that I'm making is that we're all still just people, and we all have insecurities, we have anxiety, we have things that just fuck with us. Most of the time, it's ourselves too. It's not like other people actively maliciously trying to mess with us. It's just we are just imperfect beings. And That's what I try to
That's
do.
why
I try to
I
talk
got
about that.
kids around. It gets a little hard to live with yourself if you're that kind of person. So yeah, I'm glad I got a little bit of company here because if it's just me, it's just you can drive yourself nuts by doing that. So and as far as fueled by progress goes, I mean, as in terms of lost potential and seeing it's all just your actions and everything. And there's a whole lot that I know I could have done. And it's not like it's one of those things that holds me back. But like, like I say, for example, a buddy of mine, Frankie, guitarist back home, and a friend of mine, he posted, a video of him playing guitar. And he asked me like a couple years ago if I wanted to be in his band, Anton Ego. Go check him out. Super good. And he's like, you want to, play with us? And I didn't. I ended up not doing it. But, I thought about like, if it's a trio, like guitar, bass, drums, add another guitar to something done right. The addition, the proper addition to things, you do it right. Like say you add sax to anything, automatically way better. If you add another guitar for them to gel, fill in space and stuff like that, like that's what I'm talking about. Like potential, man. It's just like it's endless. What you could do. So, and I thought about that. I'm like, oh boy, add another guitar to that. We could have been all over the place. And playing with people. Like it's been years since I played guitar in a band with people. And, I'm at the point now thinking that I may not play with or in front of people again, which is fine with me. With people, I mean, I got some buddies I can make some music with, but like even here, some people have asked me to jam because I told them to play and they play. And I said, maybe, what I do nowadays is I'm tired of saying, yeah, for sure. Or like saying, yeah, I'll do that. What I do now is because, I bail. I bail on everything. The whole fight, flight, freeze thing, it's always flight. I'm always running, always looking for a way out. Freeze, rarely do I fight. I mean, I'm always looking for that way out, which is not a healthy characteristic, depending on what, it is. But, I'm not the strongest willed person in the world. But, what I do nowadays is I'm like, yeah, man, I'd like to say, yeah, I'd like to say that I would enjoy, jamming with you. And I think I would, playing with people again. But I'm not going to promise anything. I kind of just, half the time I say like, I'm kind of an asshole. And so if you hit me up, I might like 1 out of every 20 times I might get back to you. So just don't take it personally. Because I feel like some people, I mean, I can be very off-putting and rub the wrong way just by, mannerisms or whatever. But like, I try not to, because you think you know yourself. And then every once in a while, some time goes past, and I'm at the point now where it seems like I know myself less. Like I shock myself more often, and I thought I knew myself pretty well. Turns out, like I don't. I don't. So I'm just not gonna even try. Like I'm glad that we're talking today. I'm glad I actually went through with it and that we're talking. And
Yep.
it's something I do enjoy. And if I took the time to do this with more people back home, it'd be good. And I'm sure I will. It just might only be like once, twice a year for a couple hours, but that's enough for me, man. I don't need to talk to people every day. It'll just be nice to say hi every once in a while. Like, maybe, every couple months or longer, it's good to talk.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we are, but where was I going with that, man? Fuck.
Nah, man, I hear you. So I had a question. So let's go back to the sort of like, maybe we can use a past experience, but like you mentioned a couple things. So the one thing that you mentioned was, the couple things you mentioned was your goals by 30. So quit smoking. The other two things that I can't remember. Remind me.
Spanish and lockpicking.
Spanish and lockpicking. That was it. So all by 30. And you said that you're not really actively working towards them just yet because we talked about, you have time and things like that. And then I brought up the thing about the album by the end of 2021, and you went through the entire process. Like, exactly what you need to do, right? So you might not know everything again to the actual T, but the process, what to do. It's not like you're lacking that knowledge or that talent there. But again, it's like the spark almost. It's just getting started, I feel like, is where it's tripping you up because you start thinking about it, like you said, and you overanalyze, and it's analysis paralysis, I think, is a big problem, right? So,
Perfect, yeah.
So what, one of the things that maybe you can enlighten me on is what happens when you get to 30, let's say in a hypothetical word, you get to 30 and you haven't worked on any of those things. What happens then? How do you react?
If I don't know how much I'm going to change in the next 5 or 6 years, but as of right now, I'll be like, because I've done that with so many things, no matter what it is. It's the idea of something I can think of and see pretty clearly. It's just rarely do I go and do it. It's always been like a thing with me for the most part. And I probably would just shrug it off and kind of just think, yeah, it was kind of like a joke anyway. I say by 30. I mean, there's with the whole quitting smoking, it doesn't help right now because smoking has never been so cheap. I buy these cartons, King Mountain Reds. It's the brand out here from on a Native American reservation. No tax. It's like $31 a carton. So
yeah,
smoking. So that's not much of a motivator to stop. But like, I don't know. I say that. I think I just look at it and like within 5 years, that's attainable, with some things like learn Spanish, probably take less time than that, lock picking, I'm not saying I need that much time. Smoking, that's, these are all things that, it's, you can make a timetable for it. But honestly, maybe sometimes that just works against you or depending on who you are, it really just comes down to actively trying. You have to actually actively try and be committed to it. And I'm very easily deterred with a lot of things, just because when it comes down to it, I don't know. I don't have to do. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do a goddamn thing. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to wants. Like, what do you want? And I think that's the thing. I'm been a bit confused about. Maybe not confused, but like I don't know, lost my way with some things over the years, different, specific examples or whatever, but like, what makes me happy? What do you want to do? And I don't really know, man. I really don't know. When it comes to happiness, full fulfillment, fucking happiness. Well, making an album and having it be decent, having it, something, I just want to be proud of something, and I think that would make me proud if I put something out, that's something that, again, we all need something. And I know what it could be good. And I just want to feel good about this thing that I've done for a long time that I, went to the wayside over the years. And, I don't have much else. Hockey's not around. You think there's going to be a season this year? Probably not.
I think they were talking about it, shortened one, but I don't know if that was confirmed.
I mean, I feel like if anything was going to happen, it would have had to been in concrete, set in stone by now. I mean, if they're saying January, dude, it's almost January. So that sucks. But, as far as like things that you enjoy, and that's not even me doing, that's just me watching. Although I did tell you about that beer league. I'm excited because this dude TJ is the union steward at the post office, and there's an ice rink here, which I was shocked. I was driving on the highway and I could see it. I'm like, damn, there's an ice hockey rink out here. You people know about hockey? That's crazy.
Outside?
Like, no, it's an indoor one.
Oh, gotcha.
But like everyone's all this, Seahawks here is football, but there's a few people I can actually talk hockey with, which is nice.
Well, is it Seattle Kraken?
Yeah, man, I can't wait when I'm getting lower bowl tickets versus the Pens. Probably every time that they play there. If say they play there twice a year, whenever, like say next year, I'm going. Some things you just can't spare any expense on, man.
Yeah,
you can't. So me and my buddy Bill will be catching. That's my adopted West Coast team now, baby. Go Kraken. Hopefully they just if they have a lottery draft, don't take anyone decent from the Pens, which I don't even know what the roster looks like now. But hockey is one thing, but that's something that'll be fun. Like, as far as activities go, like I never got a chance to play ice hockey, like in a league. The only chance we had was like when we did it at school, and whoever dumbass's fault was forgot the other pair of goalie pads, and fucking hockey players were hogging the puck the whole time. I'm like, yeah, man, I just want to have some fun. I don't get to play ice hockey with like actual people, have it be like 5-on-5 with two goalies. So that was the closest thing I had. This is like it's not like I asked them, like, do people take it like super seriously? And, playing in leagues, there's going to be those dudes, but it's more laid back, kind of just like, any age range is allowed. And I'm looking forward to it because, maybe I'll learn how to stop.
That's the hard part for me. I can't do that.
Casey, my brother, he always says, that's what the boards are for. And I'm like, yeah, true, but it's not like a super competitive league. So that'll be fun. I just need to start getting equipment piece by piece because I don't have anything out here with me. And hockey's, how expensive that shit is. I'm not trying to drop like $1,000
Yeah.
all at once. Be like,
Yeah.
okay, let's play hockey. And then be like, no, the virus got bad again. We're still not doing it. Like, fuck. But
Yeah.
that's something, I really do miss playing. There's not a deck hockey rink out here, but I miss playing hockey because that's something, music and hockey, man. I love hockey.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
you love it. You get pure enjoyment from the sport. I fucking love it. And I miss playing it too. Once that gets up going again, I want to hop on that. But playing in that deck hockey league, man, with Tim, and won a couple championships, that tournament, and it's not even about winning. It's just playing, and I just absolutely love it, and that's something I get a lot of enjoyment from. So maybe when that comes around, there's things that will rise in time. Some things you can't see coming. So I mean, really, when it comes down to music and me, the whole thing is I don't want to feel that pressure that I put on myself that was there in the past. I just want to enjoy it again for the sake of just enjoying it. And I've gotten better at that over the years. It's just a hit or miss. And since coming out here, I don't know, I think more as the time goes on, because it was a lot all at once. And even coming here and with the adjustment to the job, because really fucking the hours were insane and everything's kind of different from the Green Tree Post Office to the Yakima Post Office. So, and beyond just work, it's just, it's a more of a, I'll say it's a big thing. It's big enough, the move across the country. I'm out here by myself and, that, but as time goes on, I get more comfortable. And then maybe, my friend Bill, he gets his days off. A career employee, we can line together days off, work together on stuff, make some music or go places, So it's just like, I don't want to rake my mind, get worked up about these things anymore, man. Because like I've done that for years, especially with guitar, especially during college and shit like that. And the years afterwards, because that just really, I had a hard time with that for a minute because, I thought I had my life figured out by 12 and I gave up on the thing that I thought I never could. So, what does that say about me? And then I started giving up on more things that I thought I never could. And so that's why, I said, I surprised myself with some things, and still is, I find myself doing or not doing things or taking care of things that I thought that I would just always be on top of. So it really, when it comes down to everything, maybe I'm just that unsure of a person, but I'm just kind of trying to roll with it as it's happening. The past is, I don't think about that nearly as much as I used to. And I'm just trying not to worry about the future. As far as, life goes, just, I'm here. I might as well try to enjoy it. And, I got a steady job, so at least I don't have to worry about that. And the rest of the time is my life, is mine, and I could do every day. It could be completely different from what I've been doing, and I'm aware of that. It's really all in my hands. It's all in anyone's hands, I mean, we can get dealt the wrong hand some days you get fucked over. This thing's out of control, but when it comes down to it, it just comes down to you. So I know that, it's, I could do whatever. It's within my abilities. So it's just up to me and how I feel about it. Yeah. So working through it.
Do you think that you fear failure?
I don't know, man. I failed at a lot of things over time, and
you think that one of the reasons that you don't move towards those goals, for instance, at 30, is because you're afraid of, if you try really hard and you fail, you're going to feel shittier than if you just wouldn't have tried at all?
Well, I mean, when it comes to my examples, not so much. Let's say if I wanted to go and play with people out somewhere and fail miserably, like playing at like a jazz club or something, and that's how you also improve. My teacher also said that, he's eating shit in front of like some people he probably shouldn't have eaten shit, influential, like good fucking musicians around Pittsburgh or elsewhere. But you go out, you eat shit, and then you keep your head down, you get out of there. But that's how you learn. That's how you progress. That's how you move forward. You need to fail to move forward. I don't know about, but like, as far as like, let's say learning Spanish and lockpicking, like I'm capable enough where I'm not a complete dumbass. I'm competent enough where I'm not gonna fail at it. It's just, am I gonna finish it? You know, that's the distinction. But as far as fearing failure, haven't thought about that much because I guess I haven't had to in a while. Maybe in the past, but now there's nothing I really fear failing at because there's not a whole lot I need to fear failing at. It's just really, if I fail at it, it's because I probably just didn't finish it. And it really comes down to that. Really, when it comes down to things I've been talking about, it's just doing it and seeing it through rather than failing at it. You know, which I guess if you don't see it through, you can consider that failure too.
Well, I'm smiling when I hear you say this stuff, man, because you can just tell that you know what the fuck to do. And again, what I mean is, let me try to break it down. You say, like, you have all the knowledge. I don't mean all the knowledge in the world, but I'm saying, like, you have all of the knowledge that you need up here to do whatever it is you want. You even have the insight shit that people don't understand. Like, you just said there, not many, you just said something there that not many people would say. Not many people can say and have the perspective that you go up on stage, for instance, and you eat shit, but you get better because of it, right? Because you know what you did wrong, you know, you get hardened a little bit or whatever, you work harder next time. Like, you understand that. It's like literally the only part, and this is optimism again for me, the only part that seems to be plaguing the situation and has you in a bit of a rut is just like the execution. Literally just start. Just start and just keep going. And I think, man, I was going to follow this up with a question. It seems like a silly one, but do you use a calendar?
No, to be honest, I most of the time I don't know what date it is. I only look at the once in a while to see if I can strategically place like a vacation day next to like one of my long weekends or something to make it a weekend. But yeah, man, I don't know. Again, today's the 20th, I guess. I don't know. No, I don't use a calendar. Yeah. So maybe, yeah.
I have admittedly probably too many things in my calendar. Okay. I got like several layers of shit. I got Amanda's shit in there. You know, we got all sorts of stuff in there. So I'm not like a great example for it. I'm a little bit extremist when it comes to the structure, but even like the idea of setting a reminder every like day at like 7:30 or something like that to just touch the guitar. You don't need to say, you can start off easy. You don't need to say like fucking play the guitar for 3 hours. Just like touch it. Just get back into like a relationship with it, right? And I don't know. I think that would be awesome, man, because truthfully, I know how talented you are, and I know how much you know just from this one conversation, let alone all the other experiences that we've had and the stuff that you've done over the years and your love for music. I don't think that it would be terrible for it to all go to waste. Like, I don't want it to think, I don't think thinking like that is good. Like, you shouldn't be worried about like the wasted potential of it. But at the same time though, I mean, I think that if you were honest with yourself, and you could obviously say that you love music, right? And whether or not you're going to become like a musician one day or not, I think you always need to, I think moving in that direction is definitely going to be a net positive for you. So I would just love to see it. Honestly, I'd love to see you progress there. Cause I think that'd be dope, man. I'd support you 100%. I'd hype you up. I would definitely do that.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you, Mark. And thanks for having me on, some faith in me. And really, I hope to just put something out there eventually someday. It's it's all a lot could be done, and that thought still excites me. And so I'm gonna get there just at my own pace, and we'll work through it. But the whole reminders and everything, the calendar and stuff, I gotta start using like sticky notes. I got them posted everywhere. I'm like, this might be because you need those reminders, and I got them like everywhere, and just saying like dentist, Parmesan cheese. Oh yeah, I can use glasses. I need new glasses, man. These are way outdated. So, any kind of even something small or seemingly stupid things like that. If it works for you, you just got to do whatever works for you, man. So definitely. I mean, I've had different versions of processes and stuff like that. It's always changing. Everything's always changing. But wherever works for you, you got to stick with it. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Baby steps, brother. Baby steps. One step at a time. You'll get there. But
see, it's hard because I see the big picture and then the steps to get there. But that's I'm moving past that. I think just seeing the end result and then getting intimidated by the steps to get there. And it's just like I'm just trying not to look that far ahead. I guess kind of just take something, a simple idea, and just see where it goes, you know?
I hear you. I hear you. One thing at a time, man. Try to have some goals. Try to move towards them. You know, just be happy. At the end of the fucking day, what's the difference? You know, just
Yeah,
try to enjoy it. That's it.
of course.
But dude, listen. I really appreciate this. I truly do. I think that I know I have. Anybody that listens to this is going to get a ton of value out of this because, again, like I mentioned earlier, we're all going through shit. We're all going through stuff, whether it's personally, professionally, relationship wise, like whatever it is. It's not easy. Life is not easy, and I think a lot of times we make it harder
No,
than it
man.
needs to be. But it's definitely something that needs to be talked about more. So I really do appreciate everything that you've shared here in the conversation we had, because I fucking love this stuff, man.
Oh shit, yeah, and
Yeah.
absolutely. And again, thank you for having me. And it's just, the fact that you wanted to, just not only have me on the podcast, but just talk again.
Yeah.
That means a lot too, man. Because with some people, I don't know, because I haven't talked to them in so long. But like with some people, I feel like if I couldn't do this with everyone nowadays. So I'm glad that I can still talk to you, man. So
Yeah.
always happy to.
Dude, I'm not
Well,
going
I say
anywhere, man.
always happy to.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I say always happy to, but like again, I said communication. But
Yeah.
if you hit me up to talk again,
Yeah.
I'd be glad to. I will get there eventually. I usually
Yeah.
get there eventually. So,
Yeah.
so thanks.
I got you. No, yeah, I mean, I'm not going anywhere, man, and you're one of my oldest friends, dude. Like honestly, like we've known each other for a long time. We bonded over hockey. We've gone to school together, all sorts of shit, man. You've always been a great dude. I know that you got a lot going for you right now. Regardless of the things that are going on, the battles you're having with yourself and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I know you got it. I know you got it. I'm like I said, I'm your biggest hype man. I'll be your biggest hype man. If you fucking post more harmonica shit, I will be in there. I will be liking that shit. I just want you to continue to move forward, not in a way that is like, like dreadful in a sense of I got to do this, I got to do this. I just love to see fucking people get happier, right? Over time, get more fulfilled. And
Yeah, man.
that's what I wish for everybody. So,
Oh yeah, I feel the same way, man. I have no ill will. It's just the opposite. I hope everyone's doing well. I hope you just find what it is you need to do to not only get through the day, but maybe enjoy the day.
absolutely. 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 Well, man, let me hit you with these last three questions that we ask everybody because I think that they're always fun. They're always fun to talk about, and I'm interested to get your answers on them. So, I don't know if you've heard of them before. I don't know if you saw any of the other ones, but they can be quite difficult when I just throw them at you. So I apologize in advance if that's the case. But the first one is, and we've alluded to it before. What are your top three influences that you've had in your life? Now they could be they could be like actual people in your life. They could be people that you never met. They could be groups. They could be just anything in general. But like the top three influences that you've had that you think have molded you into the person that you are, or the person that you're becoming, or however you want to kind of put it.
Yeah, yeah. That's as a little difficult, but it's also important, man, because tracing back the lineage of influence, because where you get at, no matter what you do, obviously, somebody there's been people along the way to either help you or influence you, inspire. Whether you met them or not. So that's a very important. You got to give credit where credit's due.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, for example, I like top five people when it comes to music influences. I always go back to that, but that's like one of the only things I felt so strongly about in life in general.
Right.
Is the molded me into not only the musician and how I play music, but just as a person is my dad and my brother Casey. My dad, he got me on to the classic rock and everything, with Led Zeppelin, and from there, and then Casey got me into Pearl Jam. And then my friend Bill, he got me into all the noodle stuff. We say the noodles. It's just like these jangle kind of guitars. When it comes to genre, man, like it's all just there's a huge gray area. But he showed me all kinds of stuff. And James and Simon Greffenstedt, you remember him?
Yeah.
Those guys, jamming with those guys, and that was a huge year. Senior year, I jammed over James's house with Simon and this kid Sharon. And dude, the things that we came up with in that basement never left the basement. We never played anywhere else, but we could have been the second coming of Radiohead. I swear to God.
Yeah.
It's just like that kind of energy you feel between people when you're playing music, and not only playing, but like the things that they show me. They opened up entire worlds of music to me, and it's like when I found let's see. Portishead and Radiohead, just like game changers, like, in terms of songwriting and like, it came to like production value. Like you hear something that's not a real instrument that has been made or at least adjusted with a computer. And that opened up a whole world of production and different music. And, you know, it's just, but as a person, I'd say just, you know, my family has to be one of them. But the people like my friend Bill, he's got to be up there because, you know, people we spend a lot of time with mold you into that. My friend Basir back home and his parents, because I used to work at the pizza shop in the north side. And I love his parents. They're the best, nicest people in the world. And I spent like 3.5 years getting to know them and work hard for them. And so, yeah, I'd say Bill, Basir, those people. I mean, it's hard to narrow that down. But and then you could talk about like, you know, my instructors over the years with a guitar, like Greg and got Ken Karsh and fucking John Purse. He taught me, when I started taking lessons with him, he showed me jazz. You know, I was just a speed metal rock guy, you know, and then Simon started taking lessons with him and he started showing me some jazzy stuff. And I'm like, whoa, what's this crazy cool swinging stuff? And then he introduced me to jazz and that was a game changer there. So, I mean, it's, not sure if that answers the question.
No, yeah.
Really narrow 3 people, but like, yeah, it goes with music, but also as a person too. It's just, those people I've been fortunate enough to know. Definitely. I mean, it's all I've always been decent enough at being a sponge, not so much as an influencer, but I've been okay at taking things and learning and, you know, making my own shit with it. So I'm always been decent at looking and taking and then doing something else with. And there's been plenty of that over the years. I haven't given back much, but I've taken quite a bit and stored it on your brain, you know? So yeah, those people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's no, it's a tough question because I don't think I could narrow it down to 3. So I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that tries because we got a lot of influences in our life and it's how we get molded into who we are. So that is absolutely dope. Definitely think that they've had a positive impact on you. I mean, you talked about them throughout the episode. Whoa. So
NHL announces a plan for a 56-game season. Did you just see that notification? Shit, there might be hope yet, man. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's all good. That's important, yeah. Hockey. I told you, man. I think they're working on it. There we go. So cool. Go Kraken.
That'd be great. Go Kraken. Yeah, you stress out here. We'll watch the Kraken game, man.
Yeah, definitely.
I extend the invite to people. Like, if you want to come out here, by all means, man. You want to see the other side of the country, or you want to go see a mountain or a volcano. It's pretty impressive, man. So if you want to go on vacation with a Unamanda or something, you got a place to stay.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. What do we got here? Question number 2. Okay. So, best advice that you give to somebody, just like best general life advice or however you want to take it. Just best advice that you think for somebody to, you know, you see them on the street or something. They ask you, "Hey, Cal, what's your best advice, man?"
Oh boy, see, it's always the vague stuff that's most difficult because it's just, you know, well, let's see. Best advice I can give. Maybe something along the lines of try not to get so worked up. Maybe try whatever it is that's ailing you. Try caring less about it. You know, I'm not saying it's a great, not a skill, but just something I've been okay at making myself live with something. Living with discomfort or just not necessarily discomfort or just living with something or acceptance. How about just accept things and you'll feel a lot better. If something happens, you know, it comes to the point now, man, where like something happens, like, you know, and I'm kind of just like, okay, you know, a lot of things used to bother me a lot more. I used to be a lot more passionate about some things. And you know, now, or if something happened, like, you know, it would provoke me in a more serious kind of way. But, you know, it's some of it used to get to me, but now I'm just trying my best just to, you know, if I could offer any advice, just try not to let things get to you so much because it's not worth it. It's just not. And you can basically look at anything you do. I said this again already, but it's not that big a deal. No matter what it is, no matter how, it's all at best, it's most of the time just an inconvenience. Now there's exceptions to that, like people dying and shit like that. I mean, that's obviously, that has a profound effect. I'm talking about like anything that doesn't involve death or something to that extreme, you know, just maybe try to care a little less about it or just learn to live without it. Learn to live without the things you think you need, you know?
Yeah, definitely. No, that's great advice, man. I think I think people take a lot of things too seriously, and they definitely worry about things that they can't change. There's actually one of the only things that I take really from high school times, and mostly in general, the Catholic faith, is the Serenity Prayer. So it's like I can never remember it either, but it basically just says change. Have the courage to change the things that you can change. The serenity to not care about the other shit, and like the wisdom to understand the difference, something like that. And I take that to heart all the time because there's too much shit to worry about. It's like it's unbelievable that you can't even. I don't want to put any bit of my energy towards dealing with other shit because I already have too many things that I can control. So.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Exactly. I feel the same way.
Yeah. So, but great advice, man. I know a lot of people take that and run with that. All right, here's the last one, and I want to make sure that we emphasize this one because I know that it's going to be beneficial. So, the first thing that I say before I say this last thing every episode is I greatly appreciate anybody that takes the time, almost 3 hours here or whatever we've been on here, to chat with me about great conversation, all sorts of different things. And, I am truly appreciative. And at this point, right, we're not like, FBP is not crazy huge. We're not, there's nothing really to offer other than just like the time and, the conversation, right? So I really do appreciate it. Anybody that comes on here, I can't say that enough. One of the ways that I've wanted to try to give back with any sort of audience or platform that we are establishing here is I want to make sure that we give our guests, you in this case, a way to promote anything that you're doing, right? So, so music, whatever it may be.
Plugs. Every podcast has to have the plugs, man.
It's a plug, man. So anything that you're doing, I will put links to everything in the description, but anything you want to promote or plug, please go ahead and do that now.
Well, this is going to be the easiest one then, because I really don't. I have nothing, man. I have an Instagram, and every once in a while I'll post me diddling around with either the guitar or the harmonica. But aside from that, I'm not. There's nothing really for me to promote. I don't have any music written or recorded. At least, what I will do is my friend Bill, he writes some stuff. He has a band camp called Friends of Friends of Friends, and his idea was from me and him and any of our buddies. Anything we do at all, even if it's just a simple idea, not even if it's just a lo-fi recording, throw it up on there, and it's just all it is people like, hey, you have some music, throw it up on here for us to listen to. It doesn't have to be polished or whatever. It's just this is what I'm doing, or this is something I wrote. Here it is, and I kind of like that concept. You just throw it out there, even if it's a short little idea or something.
Yeah.
It's a way to gauge what that person's doing, and also it could be something. It could be some decent music to listen to.
Yeah.
So Friends of Friends of Friends on Bandcamp. I've been there to the link a couple times. I'm not sure if you Google search that, you'll find it. I don't know, but it's out there somewhere.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Is there anyone else I know? I'll say Anton Ego again. My friends, my buddies in their band. They have an EP out. But yeah, personally, nothing to promote, man. No, I got nothing to put out.
Well, I mean, you're gonna be posting a lot more guitar stuff coming soon. Yeah. You're gonna be touching it every day. You're gonna be working on it.
Absolutely. And as far as because Instagram is the only thing I have. And what I was kind of shocked about with Instagram is how many people watch the stories. Like I look down, I see 65 people watching the story. I'm like, fuck, I can't even name 65 people. I scroll through them. I'm like, I guess I do know most of you, but I'm like, that seems like a lot of people. And all I ever do is share music, what I might be listening to that day. And my hopes are maybe if that many people are watching it, which again, that seems like a lot of people to me, my hopes is that they go listen to it. I'm hoping if someone sees the story and it's an artist and they see my name, they're like, oh, this guy, if you need to find some new music, go check out this guy's story. Because, I'm posting and it's good music. And my hopes is that you listen to it. So if you see something, an artist, go listen to it, because if I'm sharing it, I think it's good. And not that should mean a whole lot for a lot of things, but in terms of music, I still got a decent ear, and I think you might enjoy it. As far as giving anything out there, that's the closest thing I can think of.
Gotcha.
Need new music, Mark? Check out the story, check out the song, wherever, check out the artist. Yeah. I will not steer you wrong, man. There's something out in terms of everything, the very least, it comes down to appreciation. There's something to appreciate in everything, and there's at the very least, you have to find something. There's something to respect. You may not like it, but there's something out there within things, everything that you can at least respect,
Mm-hmm.
And if, I think people should view that a little bit more often and not just dismiss completely things, everything, wherever it is, give it a chance. And at the end of it, there's got to be something in there that, you can at least respect or appreciate. So either that music, anything, just try it out. Just try it out.
Yeah.
Little personal philosophy, I guess. I the rambles, man. I tell you, I like talking for a long time. And thank you again for having me. It's reciprocated how you feel about your guests. I feel the same way, and very grateful to be here. So thank you again. It just I feel a need again to apologize for all the rambles, tangents that just ultimately
save it, man. Save it,
one, and then just I'm like, that's it.
It's a fucking podcast, man. Save it, dude. I like it. That's the whole reason we're doing it. We want to hear stories. I love hearing about people. I've loved every bit of this conversation. I didn't think that there was rambling like whatsoever. Everything was pertinent. Don't worry about it, man. I like I said, I really appreciate it. I love everything. I love where your head's at as far as like all the knowledge and everything that you have. I know that obviously you're going through things as far as like kind of like, the whole self-deprecating thing, the anxiety and all that sort of stuff that you're talking about. But the beautiful part again is that it's you. It's tough because you're dealing with yourself, but at the end of the day, really think the optimism and everything like that is just going to continue to benefit. You got to just push through that shit, man. Continue to realize that you're your own worst enemy, but at the same time, that's sometimes the easiest enemy to fight in a way, because it's just you. It's like you can just say to yourself, fuck off, shitty Cal. Like this is what we're going to do now. We're going to fucking pick up this fucking guitar every night at 7:30 and we're just going to play. And we're going to play like we're a 12-year-old sitting on the couch, and we're going to we're going to strum around and we're just going to see what happens, because I want you, just like I want everybody else, to be as happy as you can and as fulfilled as you can, because I was there and luckily I got out of it relatively quickly, but I know that if I would have continued, I would have just continued to feel shittier and shittier. And I know there's a lot of fucking people out there that continue to feel like that, and it's not just about your job, it's about everything else. But it just continues to compound. Like you said, if you're not really happy in one way, then you're probably going to continue to like lose motivation or lose like that sense of fulfillment in other areas. So, I mean, I just want the best for you, man, like I do with everybody else. And I know that it's in you. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the decisions that I've heard and the stories that you've had. I mean, you are so excited, it seems like, to be out in a new place, and there's a lot of good from that. And I'm excited to continue to see the journey, man.
Well, thank you, Mark. And, just thank you for being a good person, because, what you all just said there, you can tell by listening to that you're a decent person. And, it's nice talking to someone who actually cares and has good intentions like that. So thank you. And I wish all the best for you as well, man, and success. It's all, of course, I feel the same way. And, thank you for letting me ramble and talk about stuff. It was a good conversation. You're going to get me back into podcasts, man, because I've been meaning to, and I listened to one last night. I'm like, and also I appreciate what you're doing here, because, you have good advice. And sometimes, it's things like, I can bounce off myself and a lot of things I've thought about. And part of the reason I was excited to talk with you is just from the one I listened to last night. I'm like, there's a lot in common that we have that, and we haven't talked in a long time. So it's refreshing. And, the fact that you're doing this, and sometimes you need to hear it from another human being, because like I bounce off stuff off myself all the time, but it's really refreshing to, to get the same, kinds of ideas or common interests or ideals with another person, So thanks so much for having me, and great conversation. I'd be happy to come back. Not that you need two podcasts with me on it, but
you will be back, man. We will absolutely, like I said, you'll be back either via Zoom at some point, or like I said, next time you're in Pittsburgh, we got to play some hockey. And we got to get you in the studio. So maybe we'll do a joint podcast with a bunch of the old guys, the old friends or whatever, something like that. Something dope, man. I got 4 microphones, so we can.
Oh. Yeah, fuck yeah, we could get a crew in there. That'd be a good time.
We could do something, man. We could definitely do something.
Well, you'd be one of the people I hit up once I'm back in Pittsburgh, for sure.
Appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it. Man, again, nothing but appreciation. Thank you so much for sitting down and, using a good portion of your Sunday. I know you could be out roaming the forest, but I appreciate you talking to me, and
Yeah.
I know our viewers appreciate it.
Well, I mean, again, feelings same way, Mark. Thank you again for having me. And it's just the fact that someone could talk for me for this long, and that's also refreshing because I guess that goes with the self-deprecation thing. But the fact that we talked this long means that I enjoy your company, and I think you enjoy mine. So thank you again for just talking, Mark. Next time we talk doesn't have to be the podcast, but maybe every once in a while, just try to shoot me a text or say like, hey, want to talk or something if I feel like talking, whatever, man, because I could use a little bit more of it.
Yeah, I feel you, man. Absolutely. We'll do, man. We'll do.
Awesome.
But again, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Fueled by Progress with my guest, Cal Tarasi. We thank you so much for tuning in, and we will talk to you in the next one.